his debut, Jarno Uppbeat wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ronhard takes his first WOR Championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Stop it! Around the outside operated line shadow is contact again. Ronhard is around.
Bethany, surely is going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does.
16 races across 5 continents, from Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain. Starts across 3 platforms. Hundreds will begin the quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12.
Yeah, pleasure to be here, Andy, of course. Always nice to be on the end of a grand finale. Certainly here at WOR, we're heading to Sao Paulo. And I tell you what, I do fancy a bit of Brazil tonight. I think we're going to be in for a real treat. Obviously, we're all talking about the title fight. I'm sure you'll take us through it, but it's going to be very, very exciting, to say the least. Yeah, well, just to make you aware, Andy, it turns out your mic is not being aired to the public, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Obviously, just an incorrection on the mic side, but certainly no problem. Obviously, the chat are aware, folks. We're getting into it, folks. We will get a fix. But yes, I am back. Obviously, some of you might have seen I was commentating the Formula Regional Alpine, well, the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, of course, this weekend in Monaco, which was a fantastic weekend, of course, but great to be here as well, back for some more league racing and esports action as well. Just to run you through the current top order, Alfie Butcher currently sitting in P1 at 106.444, currently sitting with a very, very sensible advantage right now, just over half a tenth quicker than Alvaro Caraton in second place. Alfie Butcher certainly showing, or certainly becoming, one of the peripheral figures in league racing and one of the greatest potentials that we have seen in league racing in recent seasons, Andy. Well, it's at the end of the day, apparently what they're hearing is that you have got a webcam mic, so you might just have to change your mic on your mic settings. So if you head across to your mic on your audio mixer, you should be able to change it there. So they should show up there somewhere. Yeah, the wonders of technology, folks. Not on Discord, on Streamlabs, just to say. But yeah, Cartalundi now making his way up now towards purple sector 2 as well, so he's going to look to try and hammer down a faster lap time. Certainly Cartalundi, a man who's certainly graced many of the higher echelons, the higher tiers of league racing as well, frequently appearing in tier 2, and he goes fastest of all with a 106.404, and a wonderful time indeed, just breaking Alfie Butcher's time of just over 400ths of a second. Very minimal, the gaps at the top end right now. Modesto Mena currently sat in third place. Of course, Tomic Parantis In 6th place, he's out on an outlap. Of course, the title fight comes down to this. Tomek Paradzis on 155 points, with Nicolas Longuet, the Frenchman, signed to Veloce Esports, currently on 153 points. So we're definitely looking forward to seeing what these guys can pull out the bag. Apparently they're saying it's my mic that is sounding like a webcam mic right now, which is quite interesting.
Okay.
Bizarre, seeing as I'm using my headset, but I'll double check. Anyway, apologies folks at home, but Andy, I'll let you take us the rest of the way, mate.
Well, I hope my mic's all right now, or if mine was all right to begin with. I don't think it was working at all, actually. I think I've got it working now. We're having numerous technical issues tonight, which is a bit of a shame to get us going. But we do have Tomek Paradzis out there on the racetrack, getting underway in this session in P6 at the minute on a 106.572, attacking this Brazil circuit here in Sao Paulo, one of the classic Grand Prix on the calendar. One of the all-time greats, an old-school racetrack, and it's great that we keep coming back to this one, and hopefully we can keep coming back to Monaco. We had the Monaco Grand Prix today, of course, packed with drama and excitement, particularly due to the rain in the early laps, and here, of course, that's under a bit of threat as Formula 1 and Monaco come to blows on whether that F1 race should continue, but hopefully we can keep as many as the classic circuits as possible, George. And this is a fantastic racetrack, this beautiful circuit here at Interlagos. You've got that huge climb up the hill, the sweeps downhill. That's what you want in a racetrack, a bit of character.
You do indeed, and Brazil has played host to many a great grand finale in the past, of course. And we allude back to the Is That Glock moment many years ago that, of course, gave basically placed the championship in the hands of Lewis Hamilton, and of course it was Felipe Massa who came up short on that occasion. But obviously, even in league racing and esports, we've seen excellent finales at Brazil. Of course, F1 esports in itself, Jarno Opmeer went and fought with the likes of Nicolas Longuet. Of course, you had Marcel Kiefer providing certainly some team orders there for his team as well. Red Bull were very much trying their hardest to keep Opmeer at bay at the Pro Championship last season. But certainly coming here tonight, we've got a very different set of affairs. Tomek Paradzis looking to take the title tonight. He currently sits P2 in qualifying, but I'm sure Nicolas Longuet will have something to say about it.
And there's another man that's got something to say about it. Outside chance in the championship, but he's just gone on to pole position by 0.3 of a second. Alvaro Calaton on top. This is only Q1, of course, folks. We've got Q1, Q2 and Q3 here in WR, just like we do in PSGL, top tier, going across 3 qualifying sessions. The bottom 5 get knocked out. In this case, it will be the bottom 2. We've got a few drivers joining late tonight, but they will be here. Then the next 5 go out in Q2, and then we're left with 10 for a top 10 shootout. But Caraton on top at the minute. Carter Lundy looking pretty solid at the minute in P2. Good effort from the Canadian driver, George.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to go a long way for him. Obviously, I spoke to him actually the other night. He's obviously very hard-working, is he, as many others are as well. Thomas Ronhaar, no doubt, is certainly looking to make an impression, signing to Veloce in the current game cycle, looking ahead to potentially a grandiose esports career as well. So we'll have to wait and see as to whether Thomas Ronhaar can hook that up. But currently sat in second place, just in behind Alvaro Caraton, who, of course, we all know, the supremely fast Spaniard that has certainly been a tenacious figure in the past. He's making his way out of Junsao corner, but on a cool-down lap right now. No doubt he'll be coming in to the pits, potentially maybe setting another lap because, of course, no, he is bailing into the pits. But no concerns as far as Caraton's concerned. Top billing, a 106.167, and he's clear by 1.5 tenths.
Yeah, looking very strong early doors as Alvaro Caraton knows he's got nothing to lose tonight, just has to go and race as hard as he can to try and get that victory and just hope and pray for something to happen behind. Very unlikely, I think, though, that he's going to win the championship. I think he probably knows that himself, George, but you never know. Anything can happen in WR, anything can happen in Formula 1, so you know, we'll see what happens. But here's a man, George, that I've been very impressed with in the last few weeks in PSGL and WR, coming through the ranks, breaking into PSGL a few weeks ago. You know, at the end of the game cycle, some of the esports guys start to lose a bit of interest, don't play it as much, especially when F1 22 is out, well, accessible for them, and they've got the early builds of the game. They want to get on and get a head start in that. That gives some of these guys a chance to shine. And Alfie Butcher, some of the pace I've seen from him in qualifying has been absolutely relentless. Strong race pace as well, and is really keen to get his elbows out and mix it with some of the top drivers. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets his elbows out and maybe disappoints and annoys some of the championship contenders tonight.
He has every right to, Andy. He is absolutely sensational. Certainly, like you said, he's been absolutely formidable in PSGL. Has certainly sprung into action here at WOR as well. And already up at the top end and fighting with the likes of Alvaro Caraton, Thomas Ronhaar, Cartalundi at this moment in time too, as well as Tomek Paratis. You'd firmly expect Alfie Butcher to have a grandiose future ahead of him. I have to say, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do when F1 22 comes out. Obviously, we've got, I suppose, a new era breaking into league racing. I think we're going to be seeing something totally different from what we saw last game. And tell you what, it just makes you more and more excited because the unknown makes you more excited. We just don't know who is going to be the next wonder kid here in the world of league racing. But certainly, if Alfie Butcher keeps putting the work in, as he has so rightly been doing up to now, then he has got a bright future ahead.
Absolutely, and things changing on the racetrack as well as in the new game cycle potentially. We've got some rain coming down here in Sao Paulo, some light rain at the minute as we watch Modesto Mina out on the track at the minute, and he's just cruising back to the pits, and it looks like that's the end for the likes of Jack West, Drake Dempsey and Matthew Roberts already. No signs of any of those three setting a lap time. The rain continuing to fall, and I think that could be it for the first part of qualifying. Well, that was a little bit anticlimactic, George, was it not?
A pretty quiet end to qualifying, which is something that's unheard of as well. We generally see the drivers looking to try and post lap times as late as possible, but lots of them sort of getting their laps in at the midpoint of the session, which is quite interesting. But the rain is coming down, so whether the damp track has played a factor in lap times not being as quick, obviously it's starting to settle in now. The track may be cooling down. It obviously doesn't give the drivers a lot of opportunity to set another fast lap. And Alessio Di Capua, who I'm currently looking at on my screen, he's currently crawling through the middle sector at the moment. And obviously his qualifying session for now is finished. But obviously being sat in P8, it means he will move directly in towards Q2. And what it does mean, I suppose, we are going to be losing the likes of Matthew Roberts, Jack West and Drake Dempsey.
Yep, they're going to be bowing out of qualifying with, without even barely turning a wheel, as Matthew Roberts is trying everything in his power, but it's all in vain. He's 3 seconds down through the first sector, and look at the rear sliding and snapping there on the Alpine car, and really beginning to struggle out there on a set of those slick tyres, and you can just see the difference. And I tell you what, he might be going out, but in this part of qualifying anyway, but I don't think you'll want to smash that car to bits. If it was real life, I don't think the mechanics would be too happy with that. But Roberts clearly struggling out there to keep the car on the circuit, and that just shows you, George, how little grip there is on a wet track with a set of slick tyres. It's a little bit like a rally out there at the minute for Matthew Roberts.
It certainly is. I think we've pretty much answered the question as to why a lot of the drivers went out and set the laps when they did. Obviously not keen to head out at this point. Lots of them bailing into the pit lane early. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Matthew Roberts head straight down in towards the garage as he now spins out of Jinsao corner. That's certainly not something you want to be doing in race trim, that's for sure, as that will cost you a lot of time. But yeah, he will not be making an appearance in Q2, unfortunately, as the timer ticks down. And you can see the view of the Arquibancadas grandstand on the right-hand side as now Matthew Roberts tries to funnel his way into the pit lane, does so indeed. But that is 3 minutes prematurely the end of Q1, Andy.
Yeah, it's the end. We've got Alessio Di Capua crawling back to the pits, and that's all if he makes it back, that is, because, well, it is treacherous out there, and we often get a little bit of rain in Brazil. We see it a lot at Silverstone, Spa, and yeah, Brazil's another racetrack. We often see some damp conditions, but Di Capua quite literally crawling down the hill at the end of this first part of qualifying. Probably the least eventful Q1 of the season, I've got to say, but it is the end for Matthew Roberts, Jack West and Drake Dempsey. But early pace, early promise for the likes of Alvaro Caraton and the rising star in Thomas Ronhaar.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of rising stars in this conglomerate. Of course, Modesto Mena is certainly no slouch. He certainly is a very, very tough competitor. I've seen him compete across many levels, as well as Alfie Butcher and the likes of Thomas Ronhaar. Very much a showcase of the new blood making their way into league racing. And certainly seeing the likes of Thomas Ronhaar in second place yet again. Of course, we've seen him win races all season long, not to mention him challenging at the top end on frequent occasions. But then you've got the likes of Caraton still able to hustle up at the top end as well. P1 with a 106.167. And despite, obviously, Caraton's impressive esports resume, the 1.5 tenths of a second gap is very minimal if you consider these two as a pairing. Thomas Ronhar is going to be very, very quick this evening. But also I would keep my eyes peeled as well for Tomek Paradzis, of course, who he himself is going to be vying for this Drivers' Championship. He currently owns top spot, 155 points to the realm. Let's see if he can do it.
Yeah, well, I thought we were going to get a lap there from Ryan Jacobs on the Inter, but he's decided to come into the pits, and that could be that. So let's actually take a quick look, George. We're not missing anything on track at those championship standings once again. Tomek Paradzis, there it is, 155 points. A slender 2-point advantage over Nicholas Longate. Does not get any tighter than that. The pole against the Frenchman, and it's Alvaro Caraton with, well, living on a prayer in third place in the standings, it has to be said. But George, it's going to be a really exciting, Grand Prix tonight between these two. And let's be honest, it's whoever finishes ahead of the other is going to win the championship, unless, of course, they finish 9th and 10th.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. I mean, we could yet see a spring, a late twist in the tail. I mean, Caraton could still mathematically win the title. I mean, we'll have to keep our eyes peeled as to whether something like that could happen. But like I say, nothing is for certain when it comes to league racing. But as we head now into Q2, I mean, obviously, it's going to put yet more impetus on track position, of course, grid position. And already I'm seeing the rain is still continuing to cascade downwards here in the midst of this session. So, again, this is another tricky element that the drivers are going to have to cope with. And we'll have to wait and see as to whether that is the case. Obviously, right now, Paradzis is on top. But, we've got plenty of other drivers that we need to be worried about. Obviously, the likes of Longay, who will be joining us later on. Obviously, he's, the odds are going to be stacked against him if he does join before the race starts, because he will be at the back of the grid. So, it's all a bit of a mystery. We'll have to wait and see. But nonetheless, it's going to be competitive, as we're now watching the drivers now make their way out onto the circuit. And no doubt, all of them looking to impress here at this very midway point of qualifying. Brazil, certainly, as I said, a deliverer of great classic Grand Prix races. Let's see if it can deliver a great Q2 as well.
Yeah, well, intermediate tyres, undoubtedly the choice for all the drivers at the start of the second part of qualifying. Let's see who can make it through into that final session. Good to see Louis Welsh making it through once again. I'm not supposed to be biased in the commentary box, but I always say this. Big fan of Louis Welsh, the pad man, always defying the odds. And, George, we speak about this all the time, don't we? But it is such a disadvantage, pad against wheel, and it just shows you that, you can pick up a controller and compete against the very best, even with their thousands of pounds of equipment.
Yeah, absolutely right. You're absolutely spot on. I mean, you've got to give Louis Welch credit. Time and again, he's proved himself to be a sensational talent. Competed at the Challengers Series as well, and performed very well too. He's not afraid to compete at the highest level, which is probably the biggest thing I admire about Louis Welch. Not fearing the lack of a wheel. He knows he is just that good on a pad, which is just brilliant to observe and watch. And as he makes his way down through towards the center S's, he's going to be looking to surely capture the imagination once again. But I tell you what, he's got lots of other drivers to be very well aware of. The likes of Alfie Butcher, who's going to be the very first man to set a qualifying time here in Q2. He's now making his way into the middle sector.
Yeah, let's see what Alfie Butcher can do then on the intermediate tyre. Let's see what he's capable of. I've seen plenty of him in dry conditions in recent weeks in PSGL and WR. What about in the wet? How does he stack up in these damp conditions as he makes his way up the hill then towards this tricky braking zone? It's so easy to ease out to the left-hand side of the track there, put a wheel on the grass and just slide off the road. But Alfie Butcher, precise, under control as he gets to the bottom of the hill at Junsao, and now begins that long climb up the hill through that little left-hander and then sweeping up to the highest point of the racetrack before then hurtling back down the hill. Takes the shortest route to the line, just cut that inside as much as you can. Butcher sets the first time on the board. It's a 1 minute 14.968, and it's immediately beaten by around 0.2 of a second by Tomek Paradzis. And look at that, the pad man beats them both, 1:14.713.
Yeah, wonderful visit there from Louis Welsh. Alvaro Caraton goes first fastest with a 1:14.5. Oh, as I say that, 0.005 of a second. In comes Donoso. In comes Di Capua as well. All the times being lit up here as we head through qualifying. Maybe a sign that the car's getting more and more used to the conditions that we have here on track here in Brazil. So it's at this moment in time, it's Di Capua on top. Donoso, who just recently announced his signing to the Ferrari esports team. Big news, of course, in the past week or so. And the Italian team will now have the advantage of having the very experienced Chilean Fabrizio Donoso Delgado. For those of you who don't know, of course, finalist of F1 Esports in the very first season back in 2017, taking Brendan Lee all the way to the grand finale, including Sven Zerner for that intoxicating title fight at Abu Dhabi. It was sensational, but yet Brendan Lee came out on top. Donoso finishing runner-up in that year's championship, but he's always laid claim to the fact that he is an original in F1 Esports, and certainly he is far from done.
Yeah, absolutely. Second laps coming in here from Paradis and Butcher. Paradis goes second, Butcher failing to improve by too big a margin, so it didn't quite work out for him on that latest run. Let's see how Donoso's going the next time round. Carter Lundy now goes quickest, immediately displaced by Fabrizio Donoso with a 1 minute 14.292, so he's looking to be in top form here tonight. So good effort there from him. A few more drivers coming up to the line. De Capua goes again, but he's only third at this time round. But Donoso back on top, but Carter Lundy with his super time.
Certainly is, and very, very good time indeed. Morgan Ball comes up towards the line too, and still remains in P12. No improvements, but great to see that everyone from P1 to P12 all within a second at this point. Jonah Martins now into 7th place, as now he makes his way down through the center S's as well. Modesto Mena coming into the pit lane, obviously not content with the lap that he set, but we got more and more drivers now filtering their way up through the final sector, including Tomek Parantzis, currently sat in 4th place. As he now heads through the next left-hander, no doubt he'll be looking to come into the pit lane. He certainly does. And following him in as well is the McLaren of Alfie Butcher. So it's still early doors, folks. We've got just over 9 minutes left in qualifying here in Q2. Still plenty of other cars out on outlaps and lap times as well. As now Caraton goes quickest of all with a 1:14.209. The Williams driver, another sensational visit.
Yeah, fantastic. You know, we love this in the wet conditions, George. Often it's one run and that's it, but in the wet conditions they just keep pounding round. They put an extra bit of fuel in the car and just keep delivering lap times and just keep throwing the car at the racetrack. Here comes Tom Martinez on yet another run. Remember, winner in Canada in damp conditions in WOR. A surprise victory against Jake Benham, so we know what he's capable of in the wet, and comes home across the line in P11. So decent effort there from him. Jonah Martins going again, but on this occasion he's unfortunately invalidated the lap, so he's not on a particularly strong lap this time round. Is Louis Welsh going again? He is, and he's nearly 2/10 up through the first sector on his previous best, and I'm not seeing any rain coming down any longer. So is the track just going to ramp up in the final 8 minutes of this session? Louis Welsh showing that might be the case, because he's still a tenth and a bit up on his previous best. So can Louis Welsh get the traction at the bottom of the hill to climb over the crest and come up to the line and maybe improve to maybe into the top 5 somewhere? Welsh then, the pad man, coming up to the line. What's it going to be? It's a 14.6, and he is P9 at the minute, but the track certainly beginning to ramp up. Donoso, though, coming into the pits, and could this be the beginning of the change onto dry tyres for the end of the session?
Could well be. Marcus Thal now in 6th place. He crosses the line, as we've got many others as well coming through. Jonah Martins also, I believe, out on track, and many more of them too. Thomas Ronhaar still also out and about. He has yet to deliver his fastest lap, but he's now making his way through Sector 1 and heading down in towards the next left-hander through Decidia Delago. Still Caraton on top, Donoso in 2nd, Carter Lundy in 3rd place, showing some impressive pace certainly for tonight's race here at Brazil. And Alessio Di Capua alike as well in 4th place with Parantzis, current championship leader in P5. But Thomas Ronhaar now coming through the next right-hander as they now climb through the Turn 8 section, now through the Pinarino at Turn 9. Turn 10 will be next before he then reaches Bico de Pato at Turn 11. Just breaking down at some of these hairpin bends, and they become even more treacherous in very wet conditions as he now rounds the Marullo in Turn 12. And next up is Junsao at Turn 13. The Aston Martin peppering the throttle now is that man Thomas Ronhaar, a man with so much experience, has won many races previously in leagues, as he now comes through towards the start-finish line, takes the stand side right across the paddock, comes across the line, 2nd fastest. He goes just half a tenth behind that of Alvaro Carreton. A very, very good lap indeed. The Dutchman showing some good pace.
Yeah, some good pace there from the Dutchman, as you say, as Alfie Butcher now going for another run on a set of the intermediate tyre, crossing the line and going down into that first corner. Look at how much of the green paint on the outside he was taking to try and open up that Senna S, going down the hill, taking plenty of curb. Maybe not the most ideal line there for Butcher as he makes his way down to Ciro de Lago and down towards the braking zone for turn number 4, and he's 3 to 4 hundredths up on his previous best, but at the minute it's only P13 for Butcher. Maybe not showing that searing pace we've seen from him in dry conditions, maybe struggling a bit with the damp conditions. We'll wait and see how the lap shapes up. At the minute, half a second down on Alvaro Carreton, one of the top drivers in the world of F1 esports at the minute. Butcher then through that middle part of the lap as Paradis sets some searing pace. It's now into the 0.1s from the Polish driver and the championship leader as Butcher locks up the right front, but he's pushing that McLaren to the limit as he now makes his way down the hill through the left-hander and then into a much slower, tighter left-hander, and he's almost 1 full tenth up on his previous best. But at the minute, it's not going to be enough to see him out of the bottom 5. It might get him ahead of Welsh, maybe Tom Martinez, but at the minute, that is all it's going to do unless it's a strong final sector. Butcher now approaching the line. Watch the clock. It is enough for P9, so a good final sector, George.
It was indeed, but bear in mind, we've got just over 4 minutes and 50 to go. Obviously, still plenty of time for those in the bottom end to try and get out into Q3. Keep your eyes peeled, folks. Plenty of drivers there looking to do just that. Ryan Jacobs did hop skip ahead of Harvey Cowan to now move into 14th, managing to gain a place. Obviously, he will not be content with that position. Obviously, all of these drivers will have ambitions to get into Q3 at this point, as now we're seeing more of them come up towards the line now. Alessio Di Capua, who is now making his way down through towards turn 1. We've also got Tom Martinez awaiting to come out as well. Paradis goes fastest with a 1:14.048 on the intermediate tyres. So a wonderful visit there from Paradis. And we have got the Ferrari of Fabrizio Donoso as well, making his way through, and he's finding pace in Sector 3. The Chilean now up towards the line. Donoso with the fastest time at 1:13.934 and topples Paradis, the championship leader, down into second place. Incredible. He is now with the Scuderia. The prancing horses, they are certainly charging. Donoso is on a flyer.
Yeah, superb lap from Donoso. He was flying through that middle sector, finding a lot of time. At the minute, none of the drivers in the bottom 5 are on a particularly strong lap. Maybe Harvey Cowan's on one. Let's see. He's out there at the minute, but that does not look like it's particularly quick. We'll follow him up the hill and see how he goes to the end of the lap. Ryan Jacobs did not deliver a strong lap last time round. Cowan coming into the pits. Jacobs stayed 14th, but he is now finding 2 tenths through the first sector. So is the track now beginning to come to Ryan Jacobs in that Alfa Romeo as he now makes his way through the middle sector. You get deja vu through the middle part of the lap. It's uphill, uphill, then downhill again through that middle sector. Very technical part of the lap. You have to be so accurate and so careful on the throttle in these damp conditions, but Jacobs at the minute sawing at the wheel of the Alfa Romeo, and at the minute he's finding time by doing so. Almost 2 tenths up on his previous best, but at the minute he needs 3 tenths to get into the top 10, so it needs to be a special final sector for the Alfa Romeo driver. So he comes up towards the line now and in fact decides it's time to come into the pits. And could that mean, George, the race for dry tyres?
Could well be. I'll tell you, one man who's about to start a flying lap is Tom Martinez. He's now heading in towards the center S's, so he needs a bit of a move now towards the very end. We're coming down to the final 2 minutes. We've got more and more cars making their way through as well. Louis Welsh is out on track. He is just losing a little bit of time at this moment, making his way down towards the line now. No doubt he'll keep the car out and do another run, that's for sure. He may as well at this point. There's now more and more cars start to funnel their way through as well. Alessio Di Capua being one of them. Now we're seeing a couple of cars now strap on the medium tyres. Now surely they're not insinuating that this track is going to dry up. Surely not this quickly, as now Alessio Di Capua comes up towards the line and he is 1.2 seconds slower from his previous best. But of course we've still got plenty of others coming through. The Haas drivers also following in tandem as well. Marcus Saldo on a slow run, but Morgan Ball also on a slow run as well. So all of them really struggling to hook it together at this moment in time. DRS is now enabled, so that's the reason why the slicks are coming out.
Well, I'll tell you what, anyone out there at the minute on intermediate tyres is in big trouble, and they are Tom Martinez and Louis Welch. They're not going to get back into the pits in time to change onto the dries, so they're just going to have to do a lap on the intermediate tyre. The belief is the softs or the mediums might be the one to be on, but Martinez and Welch are just going to have to hang it out there on the intermediate tyre. So Martinez starts another flying lap. How is Louis Welch getting on out there? He's going slowly, and at the minute, both these drivers could be in a bit of trouble here. Harvey Cowan, he needs to get out onto the track at the minute. He's going to be leaving it very late, and we're watching him come out onto the track on the medium tyre now, and with around 50 seconds to go, I'm not sure he's going to have enough time to get round. It's going to be very close for Harvey Cowan. Ryan Jacobs should get a lap in. Tom Martinez, Louis Welch, they are on laps at the minute, I believe. Let's pick them up. Martinez going slowly, and that looks to me like a man that knows it's game over. He's going to be 15th, I think, at this rate by the time the others do their laps. Louis Welch, though, out there on inters on a virtually dry track, George, really trying his best to deliver some kind of lap time for the others to try and target.
Certainly are, but you've got those who are on the medium tyres now making their way in towards the first corner. Tomek Perazis being one of them, the championship leader, now heading around the next left to be sending it now down the Retro poster. Let's ride on board with our man here, Tomek Perazis, as he now heads into Decidio del Lago out of turn 4. You'll next have turn 5 as well on the exit before he then reaches the Ferradura at turn 6. Now currently with medium tyres strapped on to either side of his certainly either axle on this Mercedes. He heads into the next right at turn 8 with a Pinerino downhill left-hander at turn 9. He'll then make a little bit of an incline rise up through towards turn 10, and Pico Depato at turn 11 as well. Fourth gear, full grip, as he now puts the throttle down, heads through towards the Marullo at turn 12 with turn 13 at Junsao. Now you can get a lot of time here if you can apply the throttle correctly, and what I can tell you is this: Perazis went purple briefly in sector 2. He's now making his way with DRS opened up past the paddock on the left hand side. The Archibancares look on as Perazis goes to the top, a 109.285, a massive 4.6 seconds clear from Fabrizio Donoso, but Ryan Jacobs on the softs, he goes 7.5 tenths quicker than Donoso. In comes Jonah Martins. They're all coming tumbling in now here, Andy.
Yeah, that's it then. So late time there from Martins and Jacobs. They were both in the bottom 5. They delivered that late lap. It's knocked Morgan Ball, Modesto Mena, Tom Martinez, and Louis Welch and Harvey Cowan, who did not get to the line in time, out of qualifying. So great late efforts there from Martins and Jacobs. But what it means is they're going to be forced to start the race on the soft compound of tyre.
Yeah, they will, and it'll put them at a very big disadvantage because you've got Cartalundi, Donoso, Perazis, Butcher, and Ronha all on medium tyres, folks. But of course, Ronha did not set his on medium tyres, I don't believe, because he was well off the pace. So I don't think Ronha managed to set a lap on medium, so he will be on the wet tyres. So very intriguing to say the least, but you've got to look at it on paper now. Certainly, if you've qualified on that medium compound in Q2, you're going to be in a sincere advantage, a great situation. And hopefully, you know, this is a signal that we are going to have a dry race, Andy.
Yeah, well, look at that. Look at that standing there, looking very, very interesting. We have got Jonah Martins, then Ryan Jacobs, Carter Lundy, and as you say, Thomas Ronhard did not do a lap on the medium. It just looked to me like he was just going to leave it, George, till the last possible minute to wait and see what the situation was. Did he need to do a lap or did he not? And he's decided, I don't need to do a lap. I'll get a fresh set of mediums rather than a set of mediums with one lap of wear on them. And it was a clever move, and by the looks of it, he's made his way through safely. And we've got a top 10 shootout now for pole position, and it's time, George, to get the predictions in. Back to dry conditions. This could be anyone's now. The form book's been turned back upside down because we've barely seen them in the dry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's all been turned upside down all around. I have to say, folks, as Andy said, please post your comments in the live chat. Who do you think is going to be on pole position? Andy, I'm going to throw it to you first. Who do you think is going to get this one?
I think Alvaro Caraton. I think this is Caraton on pole for me. I think he goes well around this circuit, and I believe he will get the pole. I think Perazis, Ronhar will run him close. Donoso as well in his home continent. The closest race to home for him, I suppose you could say. But I think Caraton is going to have the measure of them all. I'm going Caraton for pole, George. Yourself?
Well, I have to say I've been impressed with him all season long. I think Thomas Ronhaar will have the minerals to do it here this evening. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on the Dutchman. I like what he brings to the table. He certainly has a lot of power and potential. My money's on Thomas Ronhaar. Let's see if he can pull something off and do the business here tonight.
Yeah, well, let's jump into the final part of qualifying and see if that indeed is the case. We've got drivers out on their outlaps right now. Everyone, of course, on the soft tyre. And let's see how it goes then. So George going for Thomas Ronhaar, and I am opting for Alvaro Caraton to take the pole position. We've got 6 of the 10 runners on their outlaps at the minute, and it looks like the first man to start a flying lap will be your pick, George, Thomas Ronhaar. Let's see how he gets on.
Absolutely. Heading down the home stretch, of course, now to commence his first flying lap of the session. And, of course, Ronhaar is no stranger to clutch finale. So, obviously, for this initial run, 10 minutes still to go in Q3. Of course, this will be the final qualifying session to decide the overall grid heading into the start of the race here in the WOR Brazilian GP. As now we see Ronhaar now head through the next left-hander out of Decidia de Lago. He will have turn 5, now 6 coming up shortly at the Ferradura. Sends it through now towards the next right. He has now got up next, turn 8, as he now breaks down and shifts into third. Quick shift up to fourth. Now rounding the next left-hander at Pinarino at turn 9. Next up, Bico de Pato at turn 11. And you can just see him taking that sweeping right. And you almost use the slight embankment there on the curbing just to sort of allow your car to rotate a little bit more heading into the corner. Now coming out of turn 12 at Junsao, he'll then power up through the incline, coming past the Arquibancadas on the right-hand side. Thomas Ronhaar looking to once again wow the spectators. Can this lap be sensational? It's a 106.153, the quickest time we've seen throughout the qualifying sessions overall. That's not a surprise, though, because, of course, we had the wet weather, but certainly a great start for Thomas Ronhaar.
Great start from him. Bad start, though, for Donoso. He's bailed out of his latest lap, so it's not gone to plan for him. Straight into the pits. And, well, that is not going to plan for him at all. Who have we got out there on a hot lap at the minute? Ryan Jacobs just starting one. Carter Lundy, P3, 3/10s down. So what can Ryan Jacobs do? We saw him leave it very, very late. He and Jonah Martins left it extremely late with their late laps on the soft tyre to make it into this part of the qualifying, and they're now in here looking to repeat that and maybe get pole position. We'll see how it pans out as Ryan Jacobs makes his way up the hill through Ferradura, that tricky right-hander, and then into the next right, and he really is pushing hard. Ryan Jacobs looking for a strong result. We've got Caraton on his outlap, De Capua also, both Williams on the outlaps, Jonah Martins too. So let's see how it all shapes up. But at the minute, George's man, Thomas Ronhaar, on top by around a 10th and a half. As we keep an eye on Ryan Jacobs, 50.3 through the middle sector, a little bit wide, a little bit away from the apex there. Had to take plenty of curb on the exit off the corner at the bottom of the hill at Junsao. Now up the hill he goes, and then sweeping down the hill towards the line. Shortest route, as always, hug the inside, crossing the line now, and it's a 106.793, and he slots into 4th place of the 4 runners so far. But Caraton has now started a lap, and it's a 16.4 for the first sector.
Yeah, Marcus Sowell also going 4th fastest as well. But like you say, Donoso has got to try and pull his socks up now, because obviously on an outlap, but he would have liked to set an initial lap time from the very beginning. Nothing hurts more than having your very first lap certainly being invalidated, because it sets the tone for the session, adds unnecessary pressure on the table. But one man who is now going to be making his way round the final few corners is going to be this man, Alfie Butcher, in the McLaren, and heading up towards the start-finish line. He will now commence his flying lap as he makes his way through. Caraton goes 2nd fastest with a 106.180. Alfie Butcher now hurtling through the center S's, looking smooth. Can he enlist a top time?
Yeah, let's see if he can. But before that, De Capua, I believe, is out there on a lap of his own, but he's bailed out of it. I think he's not going particularly quickly. Jonah Martins behind him on the road. He is on a quick lap, so let's see him finish his lap first, and then we'll jump to Butcher. He goes 5th quickest, so a decent lap there from Jonah Martins. But how is Alfie Butcher getting on? He's matching Caraton through the first sector, a 16.4, but he has invalidated it out there on the racetrack somewhere. So the pressure of Q3, is it perhaps getting to Alfie Butcher? It's something I've noticed, George. The younger drivers that are new to these top tier experiences, they shine in Q1 and Q2, but sometimes you know, it can get to them. It can get to them. You know, they've got so many people watching them, viewers, and, you know, the pressure can tell. And is that going to be the case again for Alfie Butcher, or will he finally be able to deliver a top time in Q3?
Well, he's going to need to pull something out the bag now with just over 5 minutes still to go. Fabrizio Donoso has gone purple in Sector 2 as he now heads through Junsao corner. And now what a start this would be. At least he can get one lap on the board here now, Fabrizio Donoso, as he now opens up the DRS, heads up towards the line in the Ferrari. Can he go top as he comes to that point in the, well, fourth place? Not quite enough to usurp that of Thomas Ronhaar, who still sits in P1, not comfortable, but he's in P1. Caraton not far behind him, approximately 300ths back.
Ronhaar going again. I believe Paradis is also going again. So these two both on another hot lap. Alfie Butcher, I believe, also on a second run, but he's invalidated again. So not going to plan for him. But Tomek Paradis on a second run on these soft tires. I'm expecting 3 runs from these drivers in this session. Paradis gunning it down the hill. What's it going to be? Look at the clock on the right-hand side. It's a 49.8 and he's going purple. And is this going to be a shot at pole position for the championship leader? He really, really needs it tonight. And if he wants to be champion and put Longy under massive amounts of pressure when he joins later on. Here comes Paradis. Is it P1? No, he stays P3 for now. So it does not work out for him. Ronhaar, meanwhile, who's still on pole, has invalidated his latest run though. So it's not going to plan for him either. But he will be going for another lap immediately, George.
Well, Paradis did manage to shave 400ths of a second off his time. So he did make some really reasonable gains. I don't want to say brilliant gains, because a brilliant game would have been top spot, but not this time. Wasn't even unable to unseat Caraton, who still holds on to second place. But Thomas Ronhaar not content with staying where he is in P1. He's looking to go quick. Oh, he's just invalidated. He went purple in the first sector as well. That is hugely grimacing there for Thomas Ronhaar. Could have enlisted a faster time. Obviously aware of the threat that could be posed by Alvaro Caraton as the track warms up. And not to mention Tomek Paradis, who could yet cause a bit of a storm in a teacup scenario here, as we're now coming into the final few minutes of qualifying. It's shotgun time here now, Andy. It's going to be a cracker.
Yep, it's going to be a very exciting conclusion to this qualifying session. But at the minute, it's our 2 picks at the top of the order. But at the minute, you're the man on top with that one, George. It's Thomas Ronhaar by a fraction over Alvaro Caraton. It was a couple of times, actually, in qualifying at Monaco over the Grand Prix. I think we had a gap of 0.000, but they were setting the same times. Wouldn't put it past me if we get something similar here tonight, given how close the field is here in WOR at the top level. But we have got cars now out there on outlaps, and it is Ryan Jacobs. It's the first man out there on an outlap, and by quite some distance. He might even have time for 2 laps here, so just making sure, in case that, you know, he invalidates, that he has time to go maybe once, perhaps even twice. So Ryan Jacobs then, aiding on the side of caution, and he's 6/10 down on the top time from Thomas Ronhaar at the minute, but Ryan Jacobs looking for a strong showing to complete the session. Remember, one of 2 drivers that will start the race, should it be dry, on the soft compound tyre from inside the top 10. He and Jonah Martins, the 2 drivers that made their way through on the soft tyre, the rest either on inters or mediums. But here is Jacobs then starting a flying lap. We've got other drivers out there behind him on the road on outlaps too. I think the next man that will start a flying lap should be Fabrizio Donoso, as Jacobs has already bailed out of that latest lap. So I think it's time to pick up Donoso then on his home continent here in Brazil. The Chilean looking for a strong showing just off the back of signing for Ferrari.
Yeah, indeed. He's only actually registered 3 appearances in WOR this season, of course, DNFing in his first race, and that was at Bahrain, and then heading to Mexico, where he scored a solitary point with 6 points then that he registered in Portimao, and now back again, this time at Brazil, as he makes his way into the next left-hander. And certainly we'll have to wait and see what Fabrizio Donoso can pull together. He ran very wide there on the escape road, and that is an invalidation. That is confirmed. And once again, he went purple in the first sector, Andy.
Yeah, he did. And here's another man going purple in the first sector. Alvaro Caraton pushing hard in that Williams. The man from Seville is on a charge, and that is a superb first sector for Caraton, who's just going to throw caution to the wind here, throw everything at the racetrack and hope that his Williams car will respond. He knows he needs a miracle to win the championship in Brazil tonight, but Kimi Räikkönen needed a miracle in Brazil in 2007 from third in the championship. He came roaring through to win that title and steal it off the two McLaren drivers. Is there going to be a similar script written tonight, as Caraton is now nearly a full 10th up on his previous best, and this could be a low 1:06 and might even touch the 1:05s. Caraton really on a super lap here, and he's surely going to take top spot away from Thomas Ronhaar. Watch the clock, Caraton to the line. It's a 1:06.1, barely in the ones, almost got it into the zeros, but Caraton on top for the moment.
Yeah, we got more and more cars coming through as well. Wonderful lap from Alvaro Caraton. Thomas Ronhaar, though, is also in the second sector. Whether he's going to find an improvement on what he's already set, we'll have to wait and see. But as he makes his way down into the next left, he'll then take the almighty rise, leading up towards Junsao, and heads through purple in sector 2 for Thomas Ronhaar. Now he's going to look to try and tag back against Caraton. Thomas Ronhaar, already 3 times a race winner this season, 4 times a podium sitter, heads up towards the line, and he does go fastest, and does so by a mere fraction, 800th of a second difference between him and Caraton, within that 800th gap, can I say as well. Caraton now reduced to second place. What a moment.
Wait though, because here comes the championship leader, George. He's on another excellent lap. He's now gotten purple through the middle sector. Purple rain here in Brazil tonight in qualifying. Here comes Paradis as Denoso goes second. Can Paradis steal the pole? No, he can't. He misses out. He's not even on the front row. De Capua goes P5, but incredibly, it looks like it's going to be Thomas Ronhaar on pole. Can anyone out there deny him? Caraton is not on a quick lap, neither is Butcher. What about Carter Lundy? He's going slowly too, and I think that will be that. Only Jonah Martin is on a lap, but it's not going to be anywhere near quick enough to challenge. He goes up to 8th, but it is his Aston Martin teammate, Thomas Ronhaar, that takes the pole position. What a lap. George, you called it.
Well, I have to say, 1-0 to the Morganator. I have to say, Ronhaar on top spot. A wonderful result, certainly, for the Dutchman. As I said before, 3 times a race winner this season in WOR. He did it at Russia. He did it again at Mexico. He went to Silverstone and took the W there as well, not forgetting the second place that he fought for in Portimao. But he's now here in Brazil, and he is on top spot, and certainly in a very strong position. But if I'm not mistaken, he did not register a lap time on medium tyres in Q2, Andy.
You're correct,
So
George.
this could be a bit of a twist in the tail when we get into the race situation. But Andy, run us through the results.
Yeah, Thomas Ronhaar then on top takes that pole position. Fabrizio Donoso, the Chilean, also close, but not close enough in P2. Paradis also within range, half a 10th down in 3rd. Caraton also within a 10th in 4th, with De Capua 5th, his Williams teammate. Alfie Butcher a solid 6th, with Carter Lundy 7th. Jonah Martins was 8th, Marcus Thill was 9th, and Ryan Jacobs completing the top 10. So what a session that was. Big race ahead for these drivers, and I wonder how things are going to shape up, George. It could be quite interesting to see how it pans out with all the different tyre choices. It is going to be a dry start to the Grand Prix, we know that for sure. There will be a pause, folks. We need to reset the lobby, of course. There is an ongoing tyre glitch with the game, so bear with us for a few moments. But wow, we should have a very exciting race now, George, with difference in tyre choices and selections.
Yeah, and also alluding back to what happened with Ronhaar, of course, because he qualified on intermediates in Q2, he will have a free choice of tyres heading into the start of the race, because, of course, it's no longer wet conditions anymore. We are here in a dry track situation, so he can now go into it and say, do I fancy the softs? Do I fancy the mediums? Maybe I'll go against the grain and go for the hard tyres. Who knows? Let's wait and see. It's going to be a huge mishmash, and it's a big question as to who is going to pick what, which one is going to come out on top, who jumps first, who doesn't. I tell you what, it's all a giant question mark. But right now, one thing's for sure, Paradis, second row of the grid. Not ideal for the pole, certainly to say the least. He would have hoped for more, but nevertheless, we're looking forward to yet another brilliant race this evening. Ronhaar, though, no question, the star performer. Another pole position for the Dutchman.
Yeah, another really strong effort there from Ron Hart. He's on fire at the minute, one of the stars of the future. Big congrats to him on that pole. He is really going to cause some real excitement here in this Grand Prix with the championship contenders, George. Let's have another look at the standings. And Ron Hart himself, with a bit more fortune and consistency, he could have been in that fight, couldn't he? Look at that, and he's not that far. He's only, what's that? Quick maths, 36 points off Tomek Peradze. So he's had a good season, and a bit more consistency, he could have been in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I honestly think there's a lot of drivers there that probably could have been in that scrap. I mean, we've witnessed some amazing drivers come and go throughout the league season. Obviously, lots of them commit for certain points. And obviously, it means that generally they don't always do a full season. Obviously, lots of drivers have commitments. We know that Jarno Watmir commits to the likes of the Formula E Championship as well as the Formula Pro, which I know he's very busy working towards at this moment in time. Mercedes, of course, have a very strict schedule. And they themselves and Veloce have such a vast array of talent that tend to compete at the highest level year on year. But certainly, plenty there, all of them with opportunities to impress. You know, at the end of the day, we're witnessing a title fight between Peradze and Longay, with maybe Caraton thrown into the mix. It's anybody's guess as to who's going to win this one.
Yeah, it's anybody's guess to see how it all comes out and shapes up. But folks, it's about time we showed you something that you've all been waiting for, and that is that we...
On his debut, Jarno
we do have a giveaway to give away, folks. And if you remember, there was a competition on the WOR YouTube channel, and it's time now for us to reveal the results and the winners of that competition. So let's show them now. So we're going to have a bit of a drum roll, George. I don't know if we will. We'll just bring it up on the screen now. And there you go, folks. The WR competition in cooperation with SimStaff. There it is, the F122 giveaway. And they are the winners on screen. They are the lucky 5 that get themselves a copy of the F122 Champions Edition, George. Lucky them.
Well, I got to say, what a prize. That is not bad at all. I have to say congratulations to all our winners. Morgan Ball, WOR Wilson, Tom Roberts, Marcus Short, and Sick Wolf as well. Congratulations to all of you on winning your free copy of the F1 2022 Champions Edition. And it certainly will be a good one, of course. The new regulations coming into the game. And not to mention as well, you know, possibilities for new champions in the future as well. So maybe we'll see one of these guys compete in esports in the near future.
Yeah, fantastic. So what a prize that is. So great to see WR and SimStaff teaming up for this fantastic giveaway. And I did see, you know, there was so many likes and retweets and such good response for it. So it's great to see that they gave as many as 5 copies of the game away. So that's absolutely fantastic. And while we're on the topic of SimStaff, let's have a look at this. SimStaff, Space Bespoke Premier Esports Staffing Solutions. Use the code WOR at checkout for 10% off. Check out the website simstaff.net and get yourself some esports staffing solutions. So be sure to check SimStaff out. And while we're on the topic of sponsors, what about GridRival? Don't forget that. Racing has never been this fun. Check out the link on screen and join World Online Racing. One word. Join the league today and get yourself involved on GridRival and watch me beat George Morgan at predicting F1 Fantasy.
You couldn't do qualifying, so I don't know actually think you're going to do this one.
Well, you know what? Fair enough, fair enough. I've walked into that one, George, haven't I? I walked right into that.
You walked into a door, Andy. That's how you walked in. No, I have to say, no, it's a fantastic initiative, GridRival. Obviously, please get involved, as Andy so rightly said. Follow the link, as he said as well, and watch me spank Andy all over the grid on GridRival. So there you have it.
Yeah, so yeah, just get yourselves involved, folks. If you're predicting today, good luck, because I think most people today would have been predicting for a Charles Leclerc victory with Carlos Sainz alongside, but then everyone remembers it's Ferrari on the front row. They're always going to make a mess of it, and he did. And Sergio Perez picked up the victory. So good luck with your predictions, and that's what makes GridRival so fun. As it says there, racing has never been this fun. We've got a race coming up very, very shortly. A championship battle coming up very, very shortly. I can't wait for Nicholas Longay to get in here. He's going to have his work cut out to come charging through the field. If he wins the championship from here, it'll be very, very special.
taking a trip from his real-life race event at F4 to come all the way here to WOR. The man is committed, to say the least. Does not want to miss an opportunity to win a championship, and he has. He's very much in the fight for this one. Only a mere 2 points at this point. That is the mere difference between Paradis and Longue. So there's a lot of varying factors that could come in to decide in this championship tonight. Obviously, we haven't factored in the possibility of there being incidents. Of course, there could be some weather changes. We've already seen the wet weather make an appearance in qualifying. So who knows? I mean, strategies could be torn up in an instant. So we'll have to keep ourselves, I suppose, up to speed. Keep on our toes, ready for this one.
Yeah, we will sure will. But Nicholas Longue, of course, coming from the rear of the field. I mean, how does he approach this, George? Does he just go hell for leather, nothing to lose? Or is it a patient game? I mean, he's going to have to go with an alternate strategy, isn't he? But the problem is, because we have inters in qualifying, so many of the drivers in the field, his rivals, will already be on an alternate strategy. So it's going to be really tough for him.
I think he's going to need someone to do him a favour. But I think at the same time, getting a big jump is obviously very, very important. I think for Longue, he's got to go for it from the get-go, regardless of whatever tyre strategy he's on. I would probably imagine he will opt for the medium tyre strategy heading into the race. But then again, you know, at the same time, he needs to make sure that he applies the pit stops in the right manner so he is able to essentially pull off the strategy as best as he can, or certainly to the best of his ability. Certainly, Paradis, a seasoned competitor for his young age. He's been in the league racing scene now for so many years and has been a dominant factor and a dominant character in league racing for so many years. I mean, you've commentated on him on numerous occasions, way before I have. So, you know, let's just watch this all unfold. It's going to be absolutely, it's going to be interesting. That's all I can tell you. It's going to be a thriller, certainly here at Brazil. Sao Paulo, no better scenery for this one. But let's just wait and see. I think we can keep talking forever on this one, but I don't think we're going to be able to find out who's going to do it just by talking. We need to see it happen.
Yeah, we need to see it happen. And if I can tell everyone now that the countdown has started in the lobby, Nicholas Longue is there and we're about to get going. But there is a quick refresher of the Season 12 PC Tier 1 Championship standings. Look at that on the right-hand side. We've went from Belgium to Brazil. The final race of the season with all those circuits and excitement and drama in between. That is how they stack up. It is Tomic Paradis on 155, Longue on 153 from the back of the grid, and Alvaro Caraton praying for a miracle on 134 points. Let's see how it all pans out. It is now time for the excitement of the final race of the season. Here we go. This is it then, the Brazilian Grand Prix here in WR, round 16, here in the final race of the season. 3 men fighting it out for the championship here at Interlagos, Sao Paulo, Brazil. A classic Formula 1 circuit for a classic championship battle, a place we've seen titles decided many, many times in real life and in the world of esports. It hosted the only 3-way WOR title fight as well, and it's hosting another here tonight. Sao Paulo, Brazil, 4.3 kilometers, 2.67 miles, 15 turns, and 2 DRS zones. 1 down to Desiro de Lago and at turn 4, and 1 down into the Senna S. What a fantastic venue for a Grand Prix. Previous winners: Fabrizio Donoso in Season 11. Ron Hart, also a winner here in the past as well. Can he go and add a second win? There are the championship standings once again. Tomic Paradis on top, ahead of Nicholas Longue by 2 points in this championship fight. This is going to be absolutely epic. We are in for an absolutely thrilling finale to this World Championship battle. It's bound to be a cracker. And George, we're just moments away from it. Here we have it then. Season 8, Xbox One, all-rounder round the outside and going for the move and almost making it work. Look at that, great racing there. And he gets it round the outside, up the hill through Junsao, making it work. And I'm not sure why we're getting stuff from... Oh, okay, we're getting a full season recap here. And this is absolutely epic stuff. Look at some of the action we've had this season. It has been absolutely insane, and it is now time for the formation lap. We are in the action. There it is, the battle at Brazil, round 16, the finale. The formation lap is underway. Let's get ready, George. This is going to be an absolutely epic conclusion to the season. I am absolutely buzzing for this, and for some reason, I'm having some issues with my keyboard. Well, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
Technical difficulties have certainly been the story tonight, but no, I have to say, wonderful though, nonetheless. What a championship it's been. Plenty of cars though out on track. We've got a full 20 now, Andy. We've got a full 20 cars on the grid. Nicholas Longay at the bottom as well. Andre Tarabukin joining us too. Not forgetting as well the likes of Jack West. It's going to be a thriller here at Brazil. Who are you going for to win this one? Chat, I want to hear you as well. Who are you going for in this race here tonight?
We have a problem here, folks. I do not know what's going on. No, what's going on? I can't get out of this. We're going to miss the start here.
Oh, no.
I'm having some serious issues with this. I don't know what's going on. I literally don't know what to do.
I would probably suggest pull it out and plug it back in.
So I've done it, mate. I've done that.
Oh, all right, okay.
We're having a shocker tonight, folks.
Oh, my word.
No.
Keep it with us, folks. Obviously, I'll try and keep you updated as we go. All the cars are lined up onto the grid. Thomas Ronhart currently sat on front spot with Fabrizio Donoso in second place. Here we go. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, and the fifth light. And it's pedal to the metal, and it's go, 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 go. Thomas Ronhart got the jump that time on Fabrizio Donoso, heading in towards turn one. The Aston Martin leads with the Ferrari in second place as well. Paradis has jumped into P3. Caraton down into fourth place. Alfie Butcher hangs up in P5 as well, with Alessio Di Capua in sixth place. Jonah Martins on soft tyres. They're going 2 by 2 into the next left-hander, leading in towards Decidio Delago, but no question as to who's in front. It's Thomas Ronhart leading, Fabrizio Donoso in second place, Paradis in third. The championship leader got a wonderful launch and making his way through. Now down into the next left out of Pinarino at turn 9, leading up through towards turn 10 and 11. Ronhart marshalling a very, very good lead. Selected that compound. Morgan Bull now moving up into 9th place after usurping that of Jonah Martins, who's now down into 10th. Further down as well, you've got a lot of chopping and changing. Nicholas Longay now is up to 14th place. He is on a mighty charge with Matthew Roberts and Drake Dempsey now going toe-to-toe in behind him as they now march their way through the next left-hander to commence the second lap here in this Brazilian Grand Prix. Andre Tarabukin into the pit lane as well as Carter Lundy. Jonah Martins in as well, as I can imagine damage has inflicted those drivers up at the bottom end.
Well, I don't know what was going on there. I mean, because it's just completely stopped working, but we do have it working now. And Thomas Ronhart is in the lead. I've got to completely apologise for that, folks. There's nothing I could do there. The thing just stopped working. I plugged it in, unplugged it, wasn't going to work, but we are now back with the action. Finally got it working in a different USB port, and we do have the action. But it is Ronhart in the lead from Donoso, Paragis third, and Caraton in fourth. George, carry on. I need to get myself sorted here. This is a shambles.
Well, what a start to this race. Ronhart currently leading the way, owns top spot now, just under half a second, splitting him and Fabrizio Donoso. Of course, Donoso knows how to perform in very, very tough championship circumstances, or certainly final race circumstances, of course. Not in the title fight, but nonetheless, a man who enjoys a good close battle in the final race of his season, as I alluded to that race at Abu Dhabi all the way back in 2017 in F1 Esports. Thomas Ronhart once again showing the pace, but how about Ryan Jacobs taking that fastest lap, utilising those soft tyres, currently sat in 6th place as they now head out to the Senna S's, opening up the energy now with the DRS now becoming a factor here on lap 3. Ryan Jacobs looking to try and utilise now the DRS, heading in towards the next left-hander now at Decidio Delago at turn 4. Jacobs now up into 5th place. A wonderful start certainly for him, utilising the softs, but he's got 4 cars ahead of him. And if he wants to get those softs working correctly, he needs to make sure he negotiates his way past each and every single one of them.
Oh, look at that there, down the inside there. Who's that? Modesto Mina also trying to follow through, and Alfie Butcher really getting the elbows out there. Wow, banging wheels the pair, and it looks like Mina is going to get down the inside and get it done on Butcher, who drops now to 7th. 2 places lost in half a lap, George. So a real struggle there for Offie Butcher at the moment. So that's incredible what's going on there. But the soft runners really not keen on hanging around as Ryan Jacobs now moves onto the tail of Alvaro Carreton as they make their way towards the end of the opening lap of this Grand Prix. Longy now up to 12, making plenty of progress. Is it going to be a change for the lead? Doesn't look like it. Not quite close enough for Fabrizio Donoso down into turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Still at this moment in time, Ron Hart leads the way, but Donoso still right on his tail, very, very close. Inside now the 0.3 of a second gap. Further back, we've also got Ryan Jacobs challenging that of Alvaro Carreton for that 4th place spot. And Ryan Jacobs, once again, working his way up the field, opening up the energy banks. He hasn't got a lot left, approximately 14% of energy left in the Alfa Romeo, but it's enough anyway to launch him into 4th place. And now Carreton has got another man on the soft tyres behind him, none other than Spaniard Modesto Mena now, as we're now seeing, and I think there's an issue, Alessio Di Capua, an issue in Sector 2.
Yep, there he is. We can see him recovering back onto the racetrack now across the grass, so not too sure what's happened there, and that's a very harsh 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits as he gets his way back onto the racetrack. As we go back to the helm of the field, Ron Hart still leads from Donoso, Parages and Jacobs, and at the minute Parages is in position for this title, but he'll be made aware that Nicholas Longy is slowly but surely beginning to make his way through the field as we go 3 wide almost into that first corner. As that Mena go for another move, it's Carreton and Jacobs side by side. Jacobs into 4th place, Carreton battling away, trying to fight hard with the man on the soft but look at Mena now, he's absolutely flying off turn 3, pulls alongside Carreton, makes the move and might even fancy a little run on Jacobs, not quite, and he stays in P5, gets Carreton. Good move there from Modesto Mena.
Yeah, Alessio Di Capua retiring from the session after that penalty. After that off, heading into Sector 2. But a wonderful effort there from Modesto Mena to get ahead there of Alvaro Carreton. Looked to perhaps have the jump as well on Ryan Jacobs, but the story of that overtake was pretty much signed and sealed. Heading out to the center S's at turn 2, but managing to then utilise that DRS, get himself past Alvaro Carreton on those soft tyres. But bear in mind, obviously, that as long as this race carries on, those medium tyres will become better than those on the soft. So it's all a question of strategy right now, folks. And if certainly Jacobs and Mena want to utilise their strategy to their great strengths, then they need to make sure they make overtakes as soon as possible. And now this time Modesto Mena looking to go side by side with Ryan Jacobs. Mena with the upper hand as they lead it towards turn 1. Donoso also in the midst now of Tomek Parazis, who does not manage to make the overtake, but Mena does get ahead of Ryan Jacobs. So we did get a move done at that particular stint. Here comes Parazis again, this time on Fabrizio Donoso. In towards the next left out to Sinio Delano. They wrestle around turn 4. The Mercedes now side by side. Championship leader against the veteran Chilean, who now holds on again the inside racing line. Utilised it to the best of his ability to defend against the Mercedes. Superbly marshalled by Fabrizio Donoso.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tomek Parazis, he really needs to think about his championship here, because that could very easily have ended in Donoso turning in and Parazis is right front, sending him for a spin there. But Parazis, thankfully, not getting involved in contact, because he could easily have spun down the order and handed the initiative to Nicholas Longy. He needs to think about his championship here. He just needs to finish ahead of Nicholas Longy. He's on the same tyre and strategy as Longy. He doesn't need to get his elbows out against Donoso. We know he loves to get his elbows out. We know he's a real racer, Parazis, but he is now going round the outside into turn 1, and he should now make it work. Donoso's not going to make it easy. Keeps the Ferrari on the inside, but Parazis should get it done on the exit, and he will be through up into second place. But Donoso not too keen on giving this up. But Parazis now gaining on Ron Hart going down the straight towards turn 4. Won't, though, make the move, but he is now ahead of Fabrizio Donoso.
What a moment it would be for Parazis to get ahead now of Thomas Ronhard. The timing could not be better, and I get the feeling this is why the pole is looking to try and unleash this now at this point of the race. Obviously, we're in lap 7 of 36. Eventually, we'll soon reach the point where pit stops will be applied. Obviously, we've got those on the soft tyres, such as Modesto Mena and Ryan Jacobs, out and about on track in the top 5, both on 6-lap-old soft tyres. The others all around them, 6-lap-old medium tyres. So quite a distinct in the strategies, up in the top 5, 2 on softs, 3 on mediums. Still leading the way, Thomas Ronhar, who with all the squabbling in behind, of course, between Donoso and Parazis, has managed to obviously try and extend his advantage. If that, though, is probably at most gone up by 1/10 of a second, but with the DRS now Tomek Perazis able to come back now at Thomas Ronha, who immediately just saw the pace there. And look on the outside there, Donoso. The Ferrari looking to try and make a move on the Mercedes, heading in towards the center S's. In behind as well, Modesto Mena trying to get into the fight. And it's very crucial for Mena that he gets the move done because, of course, if you remember, he is on that soft tyre, heading in towards turn 4. A late break, a full send into the next left. The Alpine goes full max send now round this next left-hander. And it is going to be Modesto Mena. He is up to 3rd place.
Yeah, good move there from Mena. And you know, this is what I love to see, George. I like to see these drivers don't often get the opportunity in the top tier, coming into the top tier and just getting their elbows out. It's brilliant to see. We've seen Alfie Butcher doing it quite a lot in recent weeks in PSGL and here in WOR. We're seeing it again here from Modesto Mena on the soft tyre, shoving Donoso aside with no regard for his reputation whatsoever. Proper racing, no tactical waiting around, hanging around in the DRS. Let's just get these moves done, and he gets it done brilliantly. Next up for him, the championship leader no less, Tomek Perazis. How's he going to approach that particular move? Is he going to be cautious with him? I doubt it. But anyway, Perazis is setting his sights on a move on Ronha into turn 1, but no more than setting his sights, unable to get through. Now let's keep an eye on Mena. Is he going to use his ERS here to try and maybe slingshot a line onto the back of Perazis, or is Perazis too busy thinking about a move on Ronha as they make their way down towards turn 4 once more? It looks like it's going to be, as they were, still Ronha, Perazis and Mena.
Yeah, well, Tomek Perazis was very late opening up his DRS heading down that long straight. He opened it just before the turning in towards turn 4. Perazis are all over the rear of Thomas Ronha, and if Ronha's not careful, Perazis will pounce. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled, though, folks. Modesto Mena now bringing himself into the fight. As now you can see, Donoso still very much there, still very much alive in 4th place. Caraton in behind those two in P5. Ryan Jacobs, who's currently sat in 6th place, also on soft tyres, on the same strategy as Modesto Mena, but unable to make the overtakes that Mena has made himself. As now he makes his way up through towards the next left out of Junsao. It's Modesto Mena looking to try and urge closer and closer to the rear end of Perazis' car. As now Tomek Perazis looks to try and usurp that of Thomas Ronha. He needs it now as he dives in towards turn 1, taking the lead of the race now this time. Tomek Perazis as Ronha looks to try and tag him back. Oh, he's done it! Brilliant from Thomas Ronha, but for how long can he last? It comes now Modesto Mena. DRS opened up. It's a 3-car situation. Down through towards turn 4, in there towards the city of Delago. Perazis on top, wheel to wheel. Not this time. It's Thomas Ronha now who pounces back. Expert defending, tenacity, grit, true determination. This is why we love league racing. This is why we love WOR.
Yeah, great racing there again. Perazis, admire his bravery, George. He just is really keen to get stuck in here, not caring at all about his championship situation, but he should, because Longy now up to 10th position, making more progress. As behind that, we've got side-by-side action here between the Alfa Romeo of Ryan Jacobs and Alfie Butcher as they scrap over 6th and 7th, and Jacobs is up in 6th place, and now Butcher is going to be prey to the padman Louis Welsh. But we need to go to Modesto Mena right up behind Perazis, going down towards turn 1. We've already seen he was happy to go racing hard with Donoso, and he was also thinking about a lunge up the inside into the first corner on Tomek Perazis. He saved up plenty of his battery, and are we now going to see Modesto Mena go for the move down the straight? DRS open on the Alpine, gaining, but no use of the ERS, and he will remain for now in 3rd position. But this is getting very exciting already. But the progress from Longy so far has been absolutely sensational.
You've got to give Longue a huge amount of credit, starting where he did. Remember, he was 19th on the grid. He's now sitting P10, and obviously we've still got quite a bit of the race still left to go. If he keeps up this trajectory, obviously you can imagine those on the soft tyres will be boxing sooner rather than later. So that'll be 2 places that Longue gets, even without making a move. So let's just wait and see. Obviously, as they make their way into the deeper echelons of the race, that's when things start to get really, really spicy. And remember, it's not just based off the fact of Longue making overtakes, but remember, if something was to happen to Perazis due to the mere fighting going on at the top end, because of course you got Modesto Mena looking very frisky at the top end with DRS now opened up, he might choose to attack Perazis now, leading in towards turn 1. Outside line now, 3 wide into the center S's, side by side between Ronha now and Perazis. And once again, Ronha trying to marshal the abuse here from the Polish man himself, as now you can see them going down the stretch now, leading out of the Retro Poster. 5 cars now make their way down through towards turn 4, and it is going to be Parazis who utilised all the scrapping going on with 5 cars in the mix. Ronha now down to second place, side by side now. Caraton is back. Caraton back into the fight, goes ahead of Modesto Mena now as they round in towards turn 8.
Well, I tell you what, Parazis up near the front of the field and Longy down near the back. This is not the comfortable afternoon he would have envisaged towards the championship. 5 cars fighting together in the one piece of racetrack could easily have ended in tears for the Polish driver in the championship lead, but he's got to the helm of the field and he can now control this race from there, he would hope, and keep Nicolas Longy at arm's length. Let's take a quick look at the Frenchman. Here he is in 10th position at the minute, trying to slice his way through the field. You feel Mena and Jacobs should be easy targets because of their strategy. As we go back to the front, Parazis and Ronha into turn 1 again, but Parazis keeps himself in front. We're at 1/3 race distance at the minute. Things are looking good for the pole.
Yeah, absolutely. Ronha, though, very feisty character, will not lie down for Tomek Parazis. Will go side by side again, leading in towards turn 4. The Aston Martin retakes the lead of the race, and obviously for Longy's sake, he's going to want them to keep scrapping at this point. Parazis, though, not done yet. Once again, looks to the outside line, heading into the next right-hander out of Ferradura into turn 7. Now turn 8. They've got turn 9 at the Pinarino as well. I have to tell you, what a start, folks. What a sensational start. And if you're not leaving a like and subscribe for this one, I don't know what you will leave one for. Still on top, it's Ronha with Parazis in second place, Donoso in third as well. Caraton did very well to fight back and go ahead of Modesto Mena. Could be a sign, Andy, that the softs are now starting to wear off.
Yep, I think you're absolutely right, George. The softs maybe past their sell by date, and that will mean that there'll be less cars at the front of the field to fight away with Parazis, which will please him, although he's at danger of going even further backwards here. Or is he? He's going down the inside. He's taking the lead away, just as it looked like Donoso was going to go past him. Parazis passes Ronha, and Donoso stays in third position. So another change for the lead between Parazis and Ronha, but is now the young Dutchman going to fight straight back at the Polish driver. Parazis defends very late. Ronha round the outside, and he sweeps back into the lead of the Grand Prix. Great racing again at the front of the field, and they carry on this ding-dong battle. And at the minute, Longy will be sitting there down in 10th. I'm sure he'll be preserving the tyres, preserving that ERS, and just waiting and playing the long game as these guys fight ferociously at the front of the field. Let's have a quick look at that ERS management for Longy. There it is, as expected, up at nearly 90%, George. He's just waiting for the race to come to him.
That's patience, folks. That's sheer patience. Nicolas Longy with in the 90% bracket when it comes to ERS management. Now that is superior stuff there from the man in the Alfa Romeo. So sit tight. He's right on the rear of Morgan Ball's Haas now as they head out of the left-hander of Junsao into the Archibancadas. Opens up the DRS now, does Nicolas Longy, as he now streaks down through towards turn 1. He might choose to take the jump leading in towards the left-hander at turn 1, leading into the center S's. Not this time. We've got Jack West coming out of the pit lane as well, boxing onto a new set of soft tyres, but no changes in that sense. But now Longy pounces down the inside now, down towards turn 4, goes ahead of Morgan Ball. He has a nose in front, gets the move done. Textbook there from Nicolas Longy. That is the mark of an esports professional.
This is very impressive, George. This is very, very impressive. A man under a lot of pressure, a man who's got a lot to do this afternoon, potentially putting heaps of pressure on the young shoulders of Tomek Parazis. Oh, he clips the back of his teammate Ryan Jacobs. Is Jacobs going to let him through, though, to Alfa Romeos? Not usually something you see in league racing. They're all racing for themselves, despite the fact they're in the same car. Jacobs at the minute, is he going to move out the way for Longy? I don't think so. Longy losing time behind his Alfa Romeo teammate at the minute. But at the minute, this is superb stuff from Longy, slowly bringing himself into this race, and the young shoulders of Tomek Parazis, will he be able to deal with this pressure that Longy's beginning to apply from nowhere as Parazis surges up the inside into turn 1, tries to take the lead back again. Ding dong battle continuing with Ronha through the centre S, and now Donoso fancies his chances round the outside through Cover the Sol. We're going down the straight once more, 3 wide, through the middle goes Parazis. That is absolutely epic stuff. Is he going to break the latest? He will break the latest, and he will regain the lead again. What a fight this is.
Yeah, and I have to say, Ronha, the biggest loser in that exchange, because, of course, moving down into third place with Donoso now into second. Donoso utilised that exchange to absolute perfection, picked his spot, picked his moment, and has now cultivated himself a move up into second place. Wonderful moves indeed. Caraton now into fourth, still trying to marshal his position out on track. Remember, he was further up at the top end as well, but now still solidifying his fourth place exploits as well. But certainly at this moment in time, no disputing who's on top. It's Tomek Paradzis, the pole, on top in the championship standings, on top in the race as well to boot. But Thomas Rodnar and Donoso are going to ensure that this doesn't continue in this same vein, as now Caraton has a look down the outside now of Thomas Rodnar. He's getting into the fight as well. The Spaniard, who has certainly lit up on many an occasion. I remember his absolutely sensational qualifying lap at Austria. He again showing that great sense of pace here at Brazil. It's a pleasure to watch, as you can just see that Ronhar and Donoso banging nose and tail there at the top end.
Yeah, and Caraton as well got out of shape, and that's put Modesto Mena on what we think is past the sell-by date on the soft tyres, right back into the action on those 16-lap old tyres, but at the minute, not able to make any progress. Longate still running up in 8th position. Let's have a quick look at the position change. Look at that, 11 places gained from Nicholas Longate. That is absolutely sensational, and he really is asking the questions of the young man in the lead of this Grand Prix. Tomek Paradzis, isn't he? It's absolutely sensational. Lap 17 out of 36. We're almost at half race distance, George. It's flowing by here. It's in Sao Paulo tonight, but Paradzis still holds his lead. Longate trying everything to get into this action, but at the minute he's coming in. It's early from Paradzis, quite early. Well then, what do you make of that? That's very early for Paradzis to come in and change tyres. He does not want to concede any kind of track position to Longate and any risk of an undercut. But could that make him a real risk to Longate later in the race if the Alfa Romeo goes long?
That's very bold, I have to say, Andy. A very bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off for him, as then we're watching Nicholas Longate head down into the next left now, leading through to City of Delago. Turn 5 now next. And Longate now is no doubt going to be putting together some serious lap times. He is going to be so quick. He's going to want to pull off a rapid overcut here this time on Tomek Paradzis, which could be pulled off. But of course, not forgetting, Paradzis will have those very, very rapid soft tyres to use to the first initial laps of his stint out for his second stint, shall I say. So keep your eyes peeled, folks. Longate, does he make the move? Does he make the decision to box now?
No.
Or does he keep to his strategy and wait a little longer and then be quicker at the end of the race? It's a job to know. It's a bit of a twist at this moment in time, Andy.
Tell you what, George, I am actually shocked that Paradzis came in so early. I think that's made him vulnerable. I really do think that it makes him vulnerable. If I was Paradzis, I would have went somewhere in the middle. You know, not too late, not too early, somewhere in the middle of the road that had him still in front of Longate on the racetrack. By pitting really early, it means he could be vulnerable at the end of this Grand Prix. If I was him, I'd have went somewhere in the middle of the road. There was 7 or 8 cars between he and Longate. You could afford to have went another couple of laps just to give him a few more extra laps on Longate. Longate will now think, he's pitted early. I can go very, very long now and try something massively different. I think that's what Longate's only option is, as we watch him have a major slide there at the top of Ferradura. What do you think, George? I think Longate's going to have to go very long here.
He's got to do something different,
yeah,
I
exactly.
think. But at this moment in time, I mean, I've just seen Donoso come out to the pit lane. He's just positioned himself behind Paradzis. So Paradzis putting a burst together on his outlap. We're just watching now this battle going on between Harvey Cowan and Morgan Ball. They were side by side heading through Sector 2 into Sector 3. And Harvey Cowan coming off on top in that exchange. But of course, he won't have DRS now heading down this long straight. But with all this battling and holding up the field, that will surely help Nicholas Longate. Anything that can disturb Paradzis' race will go into Nicholas Longate's favour. If he boxes late, I tell you what, it's going to be interesting. Can Nicholas Longate extract the pace out of the car late on? That is the big question, Andy.
There's no doubt in my mind he will be the last man in the pit lane I am sure he will be the last man on the mediums to change tyres. He will leave this as late as he possibly can to give him as much of a tyre advantage as possible over his main championship rival. Remember, he just needs to finish ahead of his championship rival, Tomek Paradis. He's not interested in anything else. If he can get in front of him and it's not 9th and 10th, anything higher than that, and he will take the 2 points out of Paradis that he needs. So this is huge for Longuet. He will go very long, George. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, but just looking at that, it's getting very close now between Paradis and Longuet. If you have a look at it, 9.5 seconds between Paradis and Tom Martinez, his fellow Mercedes compadre here in this race. And then, of course, you've got Morgan Ball ahead, Drake Dempsey. They're the only cars that are separating Paradis and Longuet. So it's a job to know. I have to tell you, folks, obviously Paradis is going to be in a position where he can make moves straight away, but you've got to think in the long run as well in terms of tyre degradation. If those softs take a hammering for the rest of this race, remember, he's got to marshal 18 laps on soft tyres. Now, that is massive. That is absolutely massive. And we've still got a huge portion of the race to go as now Longuet makes a move on Louis Welch and takes the lead of this race as well. So now the Frenchman on top on track. Now he needs to get his head down, burst some laps out. Very soon, I have no doubt, he's going to box for softs.
Yep, he'll be the last man to do it, but he will be in the pit lane soon. How much longer will he stretch it? Paradis losing out to Donoso then, and Donoso's on fresher tyres, so that could be a bit of a blow to Tomek Paradis. He needs to get as many cars between he and Nicolas Longuet to ensure that he can win this title. Longuet trying something incredible from 19th on the grid. If he wins this championship today, George, and beats Paradis on the road, this has got to be right up there with some of his achievements at the very top in F1 esports. It would be a stunning result if he can do it. It looks like he's aiming for the pit lane this time round, and he is coming in. He will pit, and I would be surprised if Louis Welch follows him in. Yes, these men are the last two to pit.
Yep, 7 times a podium sitter is Nicolas Longuet, twice a race winner. He won at Italy, he then went ahead and won at Austria. He'll be looking to try and do something unthinkable here for the final stint in this race. Longuet now heading out of the pit lane, and you can see him behind as well, the AlphaTauri of Louis Welch on the same strategy as what Nicolas Longuet pulled off. Paradis, as you saw, wormed his way through right to second place now, and he has only got Donoso for company ahead of him. Obviously, we've got the other car of Jack West, who's no doubt ghosting at this point in time, but as you can see, 3 laps on soft tyres for Tomek Paradis. Now, the question is, how vital will those 3 laps be? How much of a difference will that ensue leading in towards the end of this race? We'll have to wait and see, folks. As we said before, the difference separating Paradis and Longuet in the championship is a mere 2 points. The story of the season, Paradis himself, a 4-time race winner here this season, winning at Italy as well as winning at Portimao. He went on to win at Paul Ricard as well as Catalunya. He also scooped up podiums at Austria and Mexico to boot as well. So he has got such a decorated season, certainly here at WOR, as now we're watching Paradis now chasing after Fabrizio Donoso, the Chilean who has got a lap fresher soft tyres. It puts him in the driving seat right now, but not forgetting Paradis will have DRS at this point.
Yeah, because some real action going on here between Dempsey and Cowan, and Longuet now gets past Jacobs. I think he let him through there, and Longuet immediately onto the back of Harvey Cowan. Is he going to dive down the inside into the corner? Looks like he will. That's another place for Nicolas Longuet. 2 in a couple of corners. Jacobs let him go. He passes Cowan though in the Red Bull, and another place gained, and another place closer to his championship rival with 13 laps to go. Oh, this is shaping up to be a thrilling finale. He's on fresher tyres, 4-lap fresher tyres than his rival. He still gets 70% of his battery left as well. Longuet just playing the long game and slowly but surely easing his way into this championship fight.
Absolutely, he's certainly working hard. Now he's getting down to the 2/10 mark and pushing now the AlphaTauri of Drake Dempsey in front of him as they now come out of the Archibancadas now around this next left-hander. The DRS will load up now for Nicolas Longuet as he now makes his way down the straight. He will be using the battery now for this second run. This second stint needs a great exit out of the center S, as you can see him late on the brakes, plugged right into the rear of that Honda rear wing as now they round through the next left-hander. left-hander once again. DRS opens up a little twitch from Longay as they now head down the long straight, 3 wide now, leading down towards turn 4. 2 moves in the space of a single straight. Nicholas Longay jumps ahead of Drake Dempsey and Modesto Mena. Majestic, beautiful, sensational. That is championship winning form.
Is the news filtering through to Tomek Perazis down at Mercedes? There will surely be some nails being shredded in the Mercedes garage and all around Poland, whether it be in Warsaw or not. This is going to be very, very, very exciting. They'll be biting their nails in Warsaw and in Poznan and across the land because Perazis now will be under pressure. Longay is on a charge on 4-lap pressure tyres and Perazis knows he needs to put a few cars between he and Longay, and he's going to try and do that now by passing for the lead of the Grand Prix. Look at Ronhar, he's in there too. They both passed the Ferrari of Donoso, and look at that round the outside. Tries Ronhar. That would have been an incredible move, but in the end Perazis is through and into the lead, and he can breathe a sigh of relief as Ronhar tried to move. He'll try again. Onto the grass he goes there, and he tried to go down the inside. Perazis covered it off. Now round the outside through the Ciro del Lago in turn 4, and boy oh boy, this is getting far too racy for Perazis. And while these guys fight, Longay will be cutting the gap down, slicing it down hand over fist, George. This is not the comfortable ride Perazis was hoping for.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Andy. The more this continues, the better for Nicholas Longay, of course. Certainly the way this keeps going. Thomas Ronhar certainly going nip and tuck here with Tomek Perazis, but don't forget to factor in Fabrizio Donoso. Remember as well, Donoso and Nicholas Longay, teammates last season in F1 Esports at the Alpine Esports team, of course. As they now head through the Archibancadas section now of the circuit, they've got another long stretch to take. In comes now Donoso, alongside now Thomas Ronhar. They launch out towards turn 1, 3 wide for the lead of the race here in lap 26 as they march their way through. Ronhar hits the front. It's Ronhar, but certainly behind now. Perazis relegated to P3. Donoso splits the 2. What a race, Andy.
This is absolutely incredible. Perazis back down to 3rd position, and now only 3 places between he and Nicholas Longay as a result. We've changed the graphic to gap to the leader. Longay 5.1 off the lead. Watch it drop and drop as these guys fight, and he gets his soft tyres, his fresher soft tyres, into the zone. This is not what Perazis was looking for. We're going through the middle sector, watching the leaders fight, and all the while the gap now goes down to 4.5 seconds. Corner by corner, sector by sector, Longay is cutting the gap down, and moment by moment the odds on a Longay title, which were very long at the start of this race, are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Perazis, the rear end of his car sliding like crazy there. He really is under a lot of pressure as the youngster, and that's thanks to the incredible drive from Longay so far, as we now watch from Perazis as the 2 leaders go fighting into turn 1. Donoso down the inside regains the lead on Ronhar, but what can Perazis do? Is he happy to sit and wait it out, or is he going to try and go for a slingshot move and a double toe down the straight? Donoso tries to cover the inside, switches back to the outside of the track. Ronhar down the inside regains the lead, so Ronhar now leads Donoso, Perazis and Caraton, as Longay has not gained much ground on this lap. Still 4.3 as Donoso tries again on Ronhar, and they all have to back out through the middle sector, and that's more time lost as Longay is now only 4 seconds behind, as now Caraton gets involved in the action and almost gets ahead of Perazis. All this time between the front 5 being lost now has Longay at 3.9, George.
It's a huge effort, certainly now, and we've still got plenty of racing left. 9 laps of the realm, and Nicholas Longay has managed to get between now the gap between him and Ronhar, should I say, is now within the 4-second mark. He is certainly going full send at this point, needs to. He's trying to conserve the tyres at the same time. What Perazis needs to be aware of is not to heat his tyres up too much. Here comes Donoso again, as well as Perazis coming into the fight as well. In towards the centre S's. Ronhar goes defensive, leading out now of turn 2. They will take the long straight now at the Retro poster. Still on top, it is Ronhar, but for how long as Donoso goes hunting down the inside now? now, leading in towards Decidia Del Lago, and Denoso now leads the way, but look at Caraton, Alvaro Caraton now looking to come into the fight as well, as he now moves into second place, and now as well, Thomas Ronha going side by side here with Tomo Parazis, the championship leader, finding all these things, all matters, uncomfortable right now, as they head through the next left-hander. That Mercedes is far from settled, Andy.
No, I know. Longy, 2.8 now, off the lead. That's not even Paradis. He's only 1.8 behind Paradis, who's now a second off the lead, and at the minute is looking extremely flustered. Maybe the young shoulders, the young head, maybe beginning to overcook here. He's under serious pressure because he's been fighting so hard with these guys all race long. He's no longer in a lead position, and he's now at threat from the likes of Butcher and Ronhar behind, and Ronhar's going from a long way back, almost diving down the inside of Parazis. Longy gaining hand over fist at the minute, and I'm now beginning to worry for the Polish driver. Is his chance of the title gone? Did he pit too early? As Butcher now sends it up the inside of Ronhar and takes P4. Has Parazis pitted too early, George?
We'll have to wait and see. He's on 10-lap old softs right now. Remember, a lot of the degradation, a lot of the pace was dying off around lap 12. And remember, Longue has got another 6 laps. He's only halfway there. So Longue is going to have plenty of meat on the bone for the rest of this race, that's for sure. Fabrizio Donoso still in front. Caraton in second place, 0.4 of a second back, with Tomek Parazis in third place. Alfie Butcher in fourth. Thomas Ronha. Now remember, folks, of course, for Loche Esports, they signed Thomas Ronha during this game cycle. They also signed Nicholas Longue. Now, surely, Andy, there can't be some inter-team stuff going on, can there?
Oh, absolutely not. This is every man for themselves, as Caraton now going for the lead. He's, remember, still in this fight. So if anything happens between Longue and Parazis, Caraton will pick up the pieces, but to do so, he needs to win the race. So he has to get himself ahead of Donoso and take the victory. But at the minute, it does look likely, which it didn't look likely at the start of the Grand Prix 30 laps ago, when there was 19 places between them or so. Longue and Parazis are very likely in the next 6 laps to come to blows on the racetrack. No, maybe not literally, but they will be in a fight. And that is going to be great news for Caraton, who would obviously want them both out of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, we'll just have a look at this now. The gap is reducing ever more. Longue now down to 2 seconds away from Donoso. So we're going to have 6 laps of magic at this point, folks. Certainly, Longue has got a huge opportunity. He is there. He's right in behind Thomas Ronha, 7/10 away from the man in the Aston Martin, as they now make the almighty climb up to Junsao, the left-hander, as they now rise up through towards the Archibancadas. The crowd's watching from the grandstands as we now see Tomek Parazis now making his way down the straight. We've got DRS loading up for the Mercedes. His battery is down to 12%, Andy. Caraton now makes the jump for the lead and takes it as well from Fabrizio Donoso. So now it's a Williams in front, followed by a Ferrari in third place as well. The Mercedes of Tomek Parazis, which is currently sitting with 60% ERS. What's Longue on? He's on 25. He's got a little bit more to play with, but at the same time, it's not ideal for either member of this race. But at the same time, Nicholas Longue has much fresher tyres.
Well, the winner of the race might not be significant in the full scale of things, but it is in this situation because Caraton is now where he needs to be if Parazis and Longue come to blows. So he's got to the lead of the race. He's doing everything he can do if he wants to win this championship. There's nothing more he can do than win this Grand Prix. From here on in, he's hoping and praying that, one, he can hold on to this lead, and Longue and Parazis, at some point, with so much at stake, come together on the racetrack. And at the minute, there's a fair chance of that because Longue is now right on the tail of Ronhar and Butcher. And after that, Tomek Parazis. Do not go anywhere, folks. The remaining 5 laps of this WOR season are going to be something very, very special. Buckle up your seatbelts. This is going to be an absolutely incredible finale to an incredible season where 3 men are fighting it out for the World Championship in the final race of the season. And who's that going slowly? Is that Ronhar going slowly?
I believe it is, Ronhar. I think it was the Aston Martin. I'm not sure quite what happened, but Longue has got past him now, and this gap now is starting to come downwards. 1.5 seconds away from Caraton as they now make their way here around on lap 32 of 36. Now, keenly enough, Andy, 13 laps on Tomek Perazis' tyres, only 11 on Alfie Butcher, Longue behind on 9-lap-old tyres. Incredible stuff indeed. So now Perazis really exposed at this point.
Absolutely, Josh. We called it at the time. Perazis perhaps too aggressive with the early stop. It gave Longue the window, the opportunity to run that bit longer, and it's allowed him to have a 4-lap tyre difference. If Perazis pitted on lap 11, it maybe wouldn't have been as bad. But, 2 laps later, it maybe wouldn't have been as bad, and now he's paying for it, because here comes Alfie Butcher, who of course is new to the top tier, fighting with the championship contenders, not interested in reputations, and that's why he passes Perazis, takes P3, and now Longue is right there. He's going down the inside on Tomek Perazis, and there's nothing the Polish driver can do. Longue from the back of the grid, he's going to try and hold it round the outside. He runs wide, rejoins the track, but Longue from the back row of the grid, now into championship winning position. Absolutely sensational from the French driver. This is the stuff of legends.
What a tremendous segment in this race. Sensational here on lap 33 of 36. But still now, Ronhar's not done. He is looking to try and charge now on Tomek Perazis as they come through the next right-hander. The Aston Martin with still what looks to be 2 laps fresher tyres on. Might still have a chance here against the pole. Tomek Perazis, they now make their way out to the Junsao corner. Nicolas Longue already moving a gap of approximately 0.6 of a second away now from Perazis. We're now watching the move straight for turn 1. Certainly at this point, we're now watching as Thomas Ronhar looks to try and attack Perazis here at this point, heading through the center S's. But Perazis able to hold on. Longue is marching away, Andy.
But at the moment, crucially, with them 4th and 5th, they're level on points, and Perazis would win on countback as things stand. So Longue either needs to make a move, or Ronhar needs to make a move, and that's exactly what he's trying to do through turn 4. Can't quite find a way through. Remember, at the start of this race, Perazis on 155, Longue on 153. At the minute, Longue's only taking 2 points out of him, but he's only won twice, Longue. Perazis has won 4 times, so on countback, miraculously, Perazis would still win the championship. But Longue on the fresher tyres looks like he ain't hanging around, and looks like he's keen on making up more places, which would win him the title.
Intriguing stuff, to say the least. We're going to have to keep our eyes peeled, folks. Many factors, as we said before the start of the race, many factors could come into the deciding of this title. We'll have to wait and see. Lap 34 of 36, they're going to cross the line again now very, very shortly, being led by Alvaro Carreton. And now it's lap 35 of 36. We're on, only remaining 2 laps left of this Brazilian Grand Prix in the WOR League season. What a phenomenal season 12 it's been. Carreton still on top, Donoso hot on his tail, currently sat in P2 as they were watching, as now we see Ronhar look to pounce this time, heading down towards turn 4, a big launch, and he goes wide at turn 4. Perazis takes him back and gets back his 5th place.
Well, for a brief moment there, for a few seconds, Ronhar had snatched the championship from Perazis and handed it to Nicolas Longue on a plate. But at the minute, Perazis, I think, can keep Ronhar at bay. But he's just praying the Longue does not pass Alfie Butcher at the minute. That is literally all his hopes are on at the minute. And at the minute, Longue cannot get past Butcher. And we did say this at the top of the show. Can the young guns get involved in the championship fight? Looks like it. And at the minute, Butcher is winning the championship for his rival. For Perazis. Can you believe it? As they make their way over the line, Carreton let Donoso through there so he could come back at him. So here comes Carreton to try and regain the lead, and that's exactly what he'll do. Meanwhile, for the championship, Ronhar and Dempsey ahead of Perazis, and the championship is slipping away for the Polish Eagle. Heartbreak in Warsaw, heartbreak in Gdansk, heartbreak in Poznan. The pole is slipping out of championship winning position as Dempsey now passes Ronhar. Incredible.
What an incredible moment indeed. The way it stands right now, Nicolas Longue will be crowned the WOR Season 12 PC champion at this point. Perazis now in the midst of a scrap himself. He knows he needs to do something drastic to get something done, something back on his side at this point. But still on the final lap, this is less than ideal for Tomek Perazis. But Andy, what a devastating finale. No questions as to who's in front. It's Carreton, and surely he's going to bring it home.
Caraton, he did everything he needed to do today if he wanted to win the title, and that was win the race. But unfortunately, it hasn't materialised behind him. And incredibly, from the back row of the grid, against all odds, Nicolas Longuet crosses the line, wins the title. The Frenchman from 19th on the grid comes charging through to finish in 4th and clinch the WOR Season 12 title here in PC. Absolutely sensational, a dramatic result, an incredible finale, and Longuet from the back of the field takes the victory. Vive la France, allez les bleus. What a win for Longuet, George.
It was a sensational drive, back of the grid, back row of the grid, to a race-winning situation, and not to mention a championship-winning situation. Nicolas Longuet came into this race 2 points behind Tomek Perazis. The way the race was going, Tomek looked to be in control of the race, in control of the circumstances around the championship, but opting to pit really early in the race was the decisive factor in what would occur heading in towards the ending of that Grand Prix. But what a sensational moment, Andy. I can't bear to look. Let's run through the results here. Alvaro Caraton is your race winner, folks, with Fabrizio Donoso finishing up in 2nd place. Harvey Butcher in 3rd. Nicolas Longuet 4th and champion this season. Drake Dempsey in 5th with Thomas Ronhaar in 6th. Tomek Perazis, he'll be gutted in 7th place. Modesto Mena in 8th. Louis Welsh in 9th. Harvey Cowan in 10th. Matthew Robertson 11th. Morgan Ball 12th. Martinez 13th. Jack West 14th. Ryan Jacobs in 15th. Marcus Dowell in 16th. And we'll miss the rest of them. But nevertheless, what an incredible moment. What an incredible race, Andy. That was a finale to certainly dream of, and that confirms it. The graphic on the screen, Nicolas Longuet, he is the WOR Season 12 PC Tier 1 champion.
Well, I'll tell you what, George, I was very nearly not putting that graphic into the stream because I didn't think it would be possible. I had all my eggs in the Tomek Perazis basket, but in the end, he comes charging through from the back row of the grid, didn't take part in qualifying, and made it work. What a strategy. The door was open to him. I've got to say it. Perazis was too aggressive. He didn't need to pit that early. He could have left it a little bit longer, or even just matched Longuet's strategy. He just had to do the same strategy as Longuet, and he should have had him covered. But no, he didn't do that. He pitted early, George, and gave Longuet the opportunity to run long. And that was a big, big championship costing mistake.
It was a very costly mistake, and there were lots of factors. Obviously, heading in towards the end, of course, he came out. The last thing you want to be doing when you've got very, very old tyres is obviously just spinning them up too much, getting them far too hot, and scrapping it out with the likes of the other drivers up at the top end. It obviously did not help his chances. Of course, the more work you put onto the tyres, the more they degrade. And then, of course, you've got to factor in also the matter of fact that Nicolas Longuet pitted last, heading towards the end of this particular race. So you can't take away anything from Nicolas Longuet's performance, but at the same time, I think Tomek Perazis will be a little bit disappointed. At the same time, probably would be questioning why he pitted so early.
Yeah, that was the big key. I would go back to the camera screen, folks, but unfortunately, just given the issues we've had tonight, I've now got the camera not working either. We've had keyboards, cameras, we missed the start, so I've got to apologise for all those issues that we've had tonight. Not too sure what's going on with the PC, but the bottom line is, George, we still saw an incredible finale to that Grand Prix, and that's what it's all about. We saw the championship battle. That's what we wanted, and it was just epic. It was epic. What a finale. That was what it's all about.
Action-packed battles across the circuit. We like every little bit of that, folks. And obviously, it was a pleasure to be here for it as well. And not a bad way for me to finalise my final WOR race as commentator as well. So I have to say a big thank you to everybody for that. But I'm sure we will be having some interviews with some drivers as well, Andy. I'd imagine there's lots to talk about as well.
Yeah, well, let's drag in the newly crowned champion into the lobby. Incredible. What an incredible race from the back row of the grid to the World Championship. Nicolas Longuet. Wow. That was absolutely incredible. How have you done that?
Well, first of all, good evening to everyone. Super happy to have made it tonight for the race, especially after a long day today. So I mean, I don't know. I just arrived home like 5 minutes before the lobby, and I just thought that, I mean, I don't know, anything can happen in every race, as we saw in the past WR races, and so I mean, why not give it a go? And I had to focus so hard, man. Like, I hadn't driven since Spain, and all I've been driving was Formula 4s in real life the past week. So yeah, I'm surprised that I managed to keep it on track for the first couple laps, because at the beginning I was all over the place. But a big thanks to Ronar, I think, because he played a little bit of a team game there. I'm not gonna hide it. Obviously, he helped me quite a bit with the. He pretty much helped me get the win, or not the win, yeah, the championship win. But I mean, otherwise, I was pretty satisfied with my driving. I mean, I didn't make any major mistakes, so yeah, happy.
So, what was the key moment for you? Because we spoke about it at the time. We thought Paraj's pitting as early as he did gave you an opportunity to run very long and do something seriously different. I felt Paraj should have just mirrored your strategy. That's all he had to do, and he didn't do it. And was that a moment for you to pounce?
Oh, and like for sure, as soon as I saw him pit, I was like, that is the wrong call by him. Like, if I was him, I would have never pitted before me. I would have just mirrored, like as you said, the lap after, and just hold position. Because thanks to him pitting so early, I managed to create like a 4 or 5 lap tire delta, and that helped me massively at the exit of turn 3. And I just had the run up on him, and that was a pretty much free pass at that point. I mean, the tire gap was too big, so I don't really. I think he predicted a very early stop by me, but that was a very bold prediction. I think for a championship, decided to pit that early, especially in Brazil. And as you saw, he struggled massively at the end with the tires. So yeah, that's it pretty much.
Do you think pressure came down in that decision? A lot of pressure. You know, he's a young driver. Bit of pressure. Just thought, I can't have Longy pitting early and then getting in front of me, and he just thought it was just a rush of blood moment, perhaps.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think if you put yourself in his shoes, I mean, his engineer probably letting him know every lap where I was on the track, and he probably knew that I was catching up and passing car by car after a couple laps each. And I think, I think he was just scared that I was gonna undercut him, and one lap undercut is big. For like 2 or 3 seconds, and that would have put me like right behind him, but it wouldn't have helped me win, because he would have had a 1 lap fresher tire, and there was just going to be a DRS train. So the only way to pass him tonight for me was somehow create a tire delta and hope for like carnage in front, pretty much.
Yeah, and they were battling like crazy, Nicholas. I mean, you maybe didn't see it. Maybe you were getting information fed to you, but I mean, they were fighting so hard. You were catching them hand over fist, and the odds on you winning the championship were dropping corner by corner, lap by lap, and it just came to the point. It was inevitable you were going to win it, and incredibly, you did. So, massive congratulations. Well done. Came out of absolutely nowhere. George, I'm sure you've got a few questions for Nicholas Longy after that incredible title win.
Well, I mean, it certainly was something we didn't expect. I mean, starting from the back, it certainly was a huge effort from yourself. Obviously, you've since moved to Veloce Esports, Nico, and obviously some big changes. It's been esports silly season, really. I know that we've got Fabrizio here as well, who's just moved to Ferrari. But what was the main reasoning behind making that switch to Veloce from essentially, I suppose, Race Clutch at that point?
I mean, I'm not sure how much into detail I can go into.
Come on, let all the juicy gossip, mate.
Well, obviously, we just had different projects in mind. Obviously, I wanted to do stuff that just Race Clutch wasn't really like planning to, or like the team just really, like, was going in a different direction than I wanted to go, and I think moving to Veloce is a big opportunity for me, and a fresh start per se.
And what's the optimism levels like? Because obviously we've got the new game coming out now. Have you had a chance to drive the new F1 22 game?
Oh, I'm as motivated as ever, I think. The new game, I like it very much. It is a bit harder to drive, but I think that's good for us. Maybe create a little bit of a bigger skill gap than what there is right now. And honestly, I'm really comfortable in this in Veloce so far, and I'm sure we're gonna smash it this year.
Are you expecting new faces to come up and try and tackle the top end with the new game? Because we tend to see it. I mean, obviously there's a big difference between where 2017 was compared to where 2019-20 now 21-22 is. You know, again, we're making another shift, or what seems to be another shift into F1 22. So, can you see there being a lot of changes?
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, as we saw in the challengers already, there's a couple names that stood out, and I think they're hungry for not just winning the challengers, but also doing really good in the Pro Series this year. So, I would not be surprised if new faces come up, as they do every year, to be honest. So, yeah, just keep on the lookout for the new guys.
We'll have to brace ourselves, Andy.
Yeah, we sure will, George. Incredible. Really looking forward to seeing how things pan out in the new game. But what a way to finish on this game. What a way to finish. That's what it's all about. Exciting drama once again here in WOR. Longy, against all odds, winning the title. So massive congratulations, Nico, on the title. And
well done, Nico.
Yeah, well done. What a way to wrap up F1 2021. And you'll be hoping for more of the same on F1 2022.
Yes, I will definitely get back into league racing. I will not stop. I will not stop league racing because it's fun, it's very competitive, and it brings good racing to all of us.
Yeah, well done, mate. Well done. Go and enjoy your evening. What's next? Are you going to get some champagne out to celebrate?
I mean, I'm not sure I have some champagne on the go right now, but
get the orange juice out or something.
Some French red wine, perhaps. Some French red wine.
With some imagination, we can do whatever we want.
True, very true.
Congratulations, Nicholas, and we'll hope to speak to you again soon in the new season.
You will for sure. Thank you guys, and also big thank you to WR for postponing the race for enabling me to make it in time for the race, because otherwise this would have never happened. So big thank you to you guys. I really appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks.
Always. Thank you, Nico.
Thank you.
Well, let's move on to Fabrizio Donoso, the Chilean driver, joining us in the lobby. Great result for you today as well, fighting it out for the victory with Alvaro Canaton. Just coming up short in the end with a solid second place. Fabrizio, talk us through your race then. It was a pretty hectic one at the front. Action aplenty with yourself, Tomek, Ronhar as well. Everyone involved in the battle, but just came up short against Canaton. It was an exciting race.
I mean, I didn't expect the race to go like that. Fighting pretty much every lap, it felt like. So I just stayed out of trouble, to be fair. I didn't want to have track position at certain moments, and I just let the guys in front, especially Thomas and Tomek, battle it out. But then came the pit phase. I saw Tomek pit, and I wanted to trust his race pace and the fact that we could pull each other out, but it wasn't the case. He wasn't able to do the switch back the lap after with me, and well, at that point, Thomas managed to get back into Tomek. I think he pitted one lap too early, because I pitted the lap after, and I was completely fine. I think I had better race pace overall. I just wanted to try that strategy of switching with Tomek that didn't quite work out, but after that, it was a bit chaotic. We were almost 4 or 5 wide into turn 4 sometimes, so yeah, it was a bit hectic. I kept it clean. Didn't really have any issues with anyone. I just positioned my car very cleverly, and yeah, that I managed to P2 at the end. Alvaro had better tires as well, but even if he didn't did that move at the last lap, I think he would have won. I think he had that extra tire advantage and extra ERS as well. So yeah, I'm not disappointed with P2 because of how the race went, but yeah, happy that we finished like that in WR, and looking forward to next year as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on next. It's the end of the season, of course. You've moved across to Ferrari as well, so congratulations on that move too. So brand new game.
Thank you.
Yeah, brand new game, brand new start, F1 22, new team, fresh. You must be really excited because it's a fresh start. I know at the start of the year you went back to Chile, took some time away, and then got back up to speed gradually on the back in league racing, and now, you know, fresh start. You must be buzzing. You must be really excited to attack this new project. It must be great for you.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm really. It's a huge reset for me. Because it's the first time I left the team since I started in 2017. I've pretty much always been in that team. So it's a huge reset for me. I'm feeling fresh. I'm feeling confident. Just focusing on my driving, which is I think the main target this year. To get that little step that I need to be able to compete more often at the front, because I've shown already last year that I was able to do that. But yeah, going to Ferrari, it's as well a huge opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to the next game. As Nico said, it's gonna be a lot of surprises. I think the skill gap is gonna be higher as well, I think.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, because it rewards more the driving itself than anything. So yeah,
Okay.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, just going to pick you up on that. Actually, you think the skill gap will be higher. What do you put that down to, Fabrizio? Do you think it's maybe ERS and DRS trains during the race maybe not being as powerful, something like that? Or elaborate further. Why do you think the skill gap will be higher?
Well, I don't know how the format's gonna be on the race, because we haven't been able to do online racing in F22 yet. But it's, in my opinion, it's definitely gonna be. I think the gaps, especially that you see in esports being so close, I think that's gonna fade out a little bit. Maybe not the entire season. I think for sure at the beginning we're gonna see bigger gaps than usually. But I don't know how the racing is gonna plan out.
Okay. Well, very interesting. Looking forward to that. George, you must have a few questions for Fabrizio as well as he gears up for a new start.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Fabrizio, a short view back to the past, if I can kind of quote. But yeah, going back 5 years ago, obviously 2017 was the very first F1 Esports Pro Series Championship. The grand finale was you and Brendan Lee and Sven Zerner. Now you are teaming up with Brendan Lee at Ferrari. How does that feel?
Well, it doesn't feel like anything special, to be fair, because that rivalry of ours kind of disappeared through the years. Like, we weren't really fighting each other on track and even in the standings. But I mean, yeah, it's not a common team to have. I think at Ferrari we have David as well, who's a champion. Brandon, two-time champion, and to be fair, the cohesion and the work we've been putting together already has been really good. I think I like the way we work together. So I'm sure we're not gonna be on the back foot. I think in terms of developing anything on the game. It's just gonna go down to the driving itself.
Yeah, I mean, how far apart is it from what we've seen? I know you alluded to some of the game facts and the skill gap, obviously being, you know, faster, should we say? But now heading into the new game, I mean, how far apart are we from when you started back in 2017?
I didn't quite get the question.
How far apart are we from 2017 in terms of the game itself? I mean, do you see it as a great improvement, or do you think that there is some other things that could be improved?
I think this year is the change that we all opt for, going into this new regulation of the cars. The meta is quite different. At the end, it's driving. You still do the same, but you can see it's a huge improvement. At least for me, I think it is. So yeah, if you have to compare it to 2017, I think it's two worlds apart.
Quite a wide apart. Yeah.
Yeah. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, what a change! But obviously, we're seeing quite a few F1 Esports Pro Championship drivers now starting to try out other sims as well. Obviously, I know that you're very busy on the on the league racing front. You've been part of the league racing scene now for a long time. Are there any other plans now to tackle some of the sim series as well during the off season, or have you got plans fully immersed in in what's going on with F1 22?
Well, I'm certainly not close to it. If there's an opportunity for me to compete in another championship or in another game, I'll certainly take it. But yeah, I mean, I've always kind of been on F1, but yeah, I don't mind. I think I'm quite good at adapting to other games, and I'm sure I can compete in the highest sim racing scenes of other games.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you would certainly wow spectators there as well, like you did tonight. But incredible effort once again, a P2 finale as well to crown off a wonderful season. But yes, we'll look forward to seeing you. Will we be seeing you again next season, Fabrizio?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think, especially going to this year, a lot of people are gonna try and see what they can do against the others, because it's a new paper sheet. It's gonna be blank. Everyone is kind of into the unknown of what the others are doing. So I think, yeah, we're gonna see a lot of league racing at the beginning with a lot of esports driver, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, we'll look forward to seeing it. I want to congratulate you on a wonderful result again, Fabrizio.
Thank you very much.
You know, I hope to see you back again very, very soon. That's for sure.
Yeah, I will.
Cool. Wicked. How you doing, Andy? I think you're muted.
Well, yes, there we go. We're back. Sorry about that. But congratulations to Fabrizio Donoso on that second place finish, and a big good luck for the new chapter at Ferrari and going into F1 22. Great to hear that you and many others are looking to commit to league racing in the future, and yeah, really good stuff. But anyway, well, I think we'll leave it there. So, fantastic stuff. Nicholas Longy, George, is the champion. Final word on him. That was an incredible performance.
Yeah, superb. I think obviously the perfect way to end a game cycle, I think, for Nicholas Longy. Obviously going ahead now into a new game. I think obviously, as they alluded to, there's going to be lots of new changes. And as Fabrizio alluded to as well, we're so far apart from when esports was first introduced. And of course, the new talents that Nico alluded to from challengers and making their way up through into the Pro Championship. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the teams adapt to the new changes, and obviously how the new drivers sort of settle into their new teams as well. So, you know, I think it's going to be a very exciting time. Obviously, we're going to sit tight. We'll just wait for it all to really kick off. But I think we're going to be in for a very spicy year.
Yeah, really looking forward to it, George. Really looking forward to it. What a year it's been for league racing, whether it be in PSGL, here at WOR. It has been absolutely epic. Unfortunately, though, it's almost time for us to end. But before we do, I just need to have a quick look about one of our sponsors before we finish up. GridRival. Racing has never been this fun. Check the link on the screen there, or join at World Online Racing on the app. Join the league today, all one word, and compete in the F1 Fantasy League that we've got at World Online Racing. Compete against me and George. We'll fight it out for top dog, and I'll win. Isn't that right, George?
Oh, yes. No, oh, no.
Well, that is all from us tonight. First, I must apologise before we go away. There's several issues tonight. My camera's still deciding to play up, so a big apologies for missing the start of the Grand Prix and the other issues we had throughout the broadcast. But thankfully, it was worth the wait. We got a fantastic title fight, and a big congratulations to Nicholas Longy. He came through from the back of the field to win the title. Well done to Longy. He is your Season 12 champion. Goodbye.
On his debut, Jarno Uppbeat wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ronhard takes his first WOR Championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Uppbeat around the outside of the line. Shadow is contact again. Robert is around. Melanie, surely is going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does.
16 races across 5 continents. From Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain to Britain. Soon this story starts. Across 3 platforms, hundreds will begin the quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12.